I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Then let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're heavy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're heavy because you got nothing. Lobito! You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Oh, welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one. Fellas, in this episode, we got a fantastic one for you, as boxing returned this past Saturday with a whole bunch of fights, so we're going to talk about all of that, plus more. Before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Buy Me a Coffee app. We no longer monetize, so for the moment, Buy Me a Coffee app, that's where it works at. Also, don't forget to check out our Patreon. Free videos incoming. We got a bunch of free videos there. You can sign up for free, or you can donate and sign up for as little as you want over there. Nevertheless, you still get free videos, but it does help if you subscribe. Don't forget that you can also check out our secondary channel, BDA Clips. We just posted a bunch of videos there, more incoming as well. So we got everything covered over there in those two places, Patreon and BDA Clips. Also, don't forget you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and Spreaker at your leisure. You can rewatch the episodes there. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. That's about it, fellas. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Super Anderson Aldo, shout out to Aldo, who says, more early streams, police. So absolutely, man. That's the way we do it on Sundays after the fights. We're going to be doing them. I mean, we usually do them early, but just lately there weren't any fights, so we weren't going live on Sundays. Shout out to Under a Microscope, King Bucho in there, going to be joining us shortly. World Boxing Nomad, The Fighting Marine, Earl Stevens. Shout out to Earl, Grim Reaper in the house, Jacques Cousteau, Rusty Cage, World Boxing Nomad, AJ92, Baron Evola, and more people to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right, let me get a panel together here, and then we'll start the proceedings. We got some interesting fights yesterday, I gotta tell you, and I was looking forward to that Nelson versus who'd you call it, Pacheco fight. I was looking forward to that one, believe it or not. Now some people could be saying, "Yeah, BD, what were you looking forward to that one?" You know, a little bit of that talking sort of did start getting. Maybe it's because I hadn't heard people. You know me, I don't really like the jawing back and forth and all that, but. In this situation, I sort of enjoyed the back and forth. Maybe it's because I hadn't heard in a long time. There weren't that many fights lately, but I thought it was good. All right, we got Bucho jumping in here. Hopefully Gonzalo created a fourth account for the fourth time, I think. So I had to send it to him there. I don't know if we're friends yet on Discord, so hopefully he gets the message right there. I'm sharing the screen with you now. All right, Bucho, let's start with the couple of fights here that we had yesterday. Diego Pacheco defeats Stone Cold, Too Cold Nelson by unanimous decision, 117-111. It was an interesting fight. There was a lot of going back and forth beforehand. What did you think of the fight? Oh, by the way, Pacheco moves to a record of 23-0 with 18 knockouts, went 12 rounds for the first time in his career. Bucho, what did you think about the fight?
I was disappointed, to be honest. I know Diego Pacheco dominated the fight. I really was hoping for Pacheco to stop this guy, and I think he could have in the last part of the fight, but he just wasn't really pushing for that. He's always we know what he's trying to do, set up the right hand, but he's not really setting it up, in my opinion. Just pulling with that jab. He should have a solid jab, in my opinion. He would be much more dangerous. Solid jab, and try to set up that right hand a little bit more differently. His opponent, I mean, he started to tag Nelson more and more at the end. It's just because Nelson was getting frustrated. That's when Pacheco also started to throw that uppercut, which was pretty nice. But again, I just think that Pacheco, he has to be a little bit more aggressive and go for the finish. He got the win, which is nice, but he wants to become some sort of superstar. He's gonna have to stop these guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
because I even see some people in the chat, sorry, they're saying that they were disappointed with this fight.
Really? Well, I mean, I did hear some people say it was kind of boring. I see Rusty Cage saying kind of boring. I also saw some people on Twitter saying that Pacheco sort of didn't deliver. Maybe because I was expecting Nelson throughout the fight to land something big. I was a little bit on the edge of my seat. I'll tell you what I liked about Pacheco first. Before I give the criticism, I always like to tell people what the guy did right or correctly. Pacheco did pump that jab. Although I do have some misgivings about it, I'll tell you why later. But he was pumping the jab. He did bust Nelson up. He did bust him up with that right hand, cut him continuously, kept tagging him with that right to exacerbate the cut. Hold on a second. Gotta check the phone there for the donations. How come I didn't hear it? Did you hear the donation alert there, Bucho?
No, but I saw it just pop up on my phone.
Okay, good. Before we continue, shout out to Jesus Pardo for his contribution with the super chat. Shout out to Jesus Pardo, who says, I know it was over when Nelson came in with his BDSM outfit. Now, first of all, he wasn't a BDSM outfit. It was M. Bison from the Street Fighter video game. The Cold video game from the 1990s. So when he said he was you know what?
It looked kind of weird.
Yeah, now that I think about it, it's like, remember when Bernard Hopkins used to come in with the executioner masks and all that? But they looked like gimp masks. You know, like the gimp, like he was coming out of a box or something. I mean, I don't know. It was maybe people should dispense with the costumes and just come in with a regular attire. You know, nice regular boxing pugilistic attire. But like I was saying about Pacheco, I like that he was pumping the jab. I like that he was busting Nelson up. Nelson ate some mean uppercuts. Now, somebody pointed in the Discord that Nelson lacks a neck. And I think that's what helped him out in this fight, to absorb those uppercuts. I don't know how many super middleweights are going to be able to walk through those uppercuts. And the other thing I liked about Pacheco was rolling with the right hands. He knew that Nelson was going to try to tag him with those straight rights or overhand rights, because, you know, Pacheco's so tall. And yet he was rolling with those shots. Every time Nelson would try to rush in, he would pivot to the left and keep him turning. So he showed some solid defense, which what I was concerned for Pacheco. So that's what I liked. Tell you what I didn't like. I didn't like the fact that he did over-rely a little bit on that shoulder roll. And later on in the fight, Nelson started following up that right with a left, which was staggering Pacheco, and then Pacheco all of a sudden seemed a little bit of ideas on how to win that or how to fix that. The other thing was the jab. I'll tell you what I didn't like about the jab. When he jabs, he drops that hand afterwards. Now, he's used to doing that because he's so long and he's so tall, and so some of the guys he's been fighting recently can't touch him. But that's going to cost him against a quick guy who's got long reach or acceptable reach, like a Caleb Plant, for example. The other thing is, once Nelson started going for broke in the last 2 rounds, he was tagging Pacheco with left hooks. And you will recall that Coceres, the Argentinian, managed to rock Pacheco a little bit with those lead left hooks. So he needs to really be mindful of keeping that right hand right next to that cheek so that he doesn't get hit with those left hooks. Because, I mean, if he fights a guy like Berlanga, say what you want about Berlanga. Oh, he was overrated as a puncher, blah, blah, blah. He can still crack much better than some of these guys Pacheco's been fighting. And that left foot...
He can take a punch too, man.
Who? Berlanga?
Berlanga.
Yeah. So it would be a dangerous fight. And one last thing about Pacheco, and I want to hear some thoughts from you guys about this too, is he's trying to fight. You know, the commentators mentioned the lack of body punching early in the fight. It seems to me like he's fighting too much like a boxer. Open guard, open stance. Like he's not, he's got that open stance because he's not expecting anybody to hit him from afar. So he's fighting a lot like a boxer, but he's not that accurate. He's not feinting that much. He's not firing throwaway shots. It's always like you said, Pacho, 1-2 at the same speed, 1-2. And a guy like Caleb Plant from long range is going to read that. What do you guys think? Do you think he should start maybe tighten up that guard a little bit more and fight a little bit more whenever the case presents itself, to fight a little bit more aggressively? Close guard, close stance, body shots. What do you think? Or what he did yesterday, was that sufficient?
Just want to point out that Pacheco admitted that he wasn't happy with his performance. So that, I mean, just saying, he knew. He thought he was gonna knock this guy out. I think a lot of people did. He didn't. I don't know if Gonzalo's there. He wants to jump in.
Yeah. By the way, who is that, Gonzalo, on your thumbnail? Is that Pedro Infante or who is it?
Yeah, that's Pedro Infante. I just thought I put something on there.
Shout out to Gonzalo. Gonzalo, now on our timeline, more than anything. Well, it's like, what, 11 a.m. over there? But it's much better than fucking...
It's
11, yeah.
Yeah, it's 10:28.
There you go. It's much better than midnight when you were in the Philippines. Gonz, what did you think of the Pacheco fight?
The Pacheco fight, at first, I thought it was at too much of a slow pace from both fighters.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, it's like if one guy's not doing anything, then the other guy also is not doing anything at all. Then you can't say, well, it might be for a reason. Since they're both undefeated, yeah, granted, one guy's 37, Army veteran, older, probably doesn't have the greatest knees. He looks beat up. Then you kind of have to wonder, okay, maybe he should have done more, but at the same time, he's undefeated, so you kind of have to give him the benefit of the doubt. There's a little bit of a standoff during the study rounds when the fight gets going, to where you don't know what these guys are thinking. Obviously, they got experience in the ring, and then you kind of have to like wonder, okay, well, there's a method to that madness. But if nothing's going on, but the other guy's older, yeah, but he's undefeated. But the opponent, Diego Pacheco's 23, and he's got all this hype behind him. You would think, okay, maybe he should push it a little bit more. Push it a little bit more and show us, give us more of an entertaining fight, break this guy down, knock him out, get him out of there, and stuff. But like, I'm kind of being ambivalent. At the same time, I want to criticize him, but at the same time, I don't, because since there's not much going on from one guy and the other guy also, he's not doing, then you got to kind of think that it's not like because he's limited. He's doing it because he's trying to find the openings and he's just being patient. So it's kind of a good thing because he's showing maturity and he's exercising that patience. But is this pattern going to show up against other fighters where he's only throwing the ones and twos, where he's only waiting for that one counter where sometimes he lands, sometimes he misses. But when he does land, it does have power. He could hurt his opponent. Then you can say, oh, wow, yeah, well, then he is pretty good. But when he's not knocking opponents out like Nelson, and then, like you said, in the latter part of the fight, he's getting tagged. Then he comes away with the win, but a decision. In this case, against an older guy, what about when he faces a younger guy, a younger fighter? This guy experiences is also faster, like Caleb Plant that you mentioned. What's going to happen then? Is he going to be able to adjust and show us a different version, or is this version the pattern that he's going to show up, always come up into the ring with?
That's an excellent point, because you read I'm right there with you, because if you remember, when he fought a guy by the name of Sean McCollman last year, that was the infamous fight where Benavides showed up drunk, allegedly drunk, ringside. Sean McCollum was a guy undefeated, long arms, and Pacheco, again, was trying to fight long range, wasn't pressuring him all that much. I mean, he was standing in front of him, pushing him back a little bit, but he wasn't exactly going to the body. He wasn't trying to break the guy down. It was a boxing fight. And that's what I was sort of ambivalent about coming into this Nelson fight. I said, if he gets hit, is he going to be too reluctant? And indeed he was. And like you said, Gonzalo, as I was watching this Nelson fight, I was thinking, well, what happens if he fights a younger guy than Nelson, like a Caleb Plant, who's got more experience, much quicker? If he starts getting tagged in between his shots, how much more reluctant is Pacheco going to be if he starts getting touched up by shots he doesn't see coming? So, he's lucky that the super middleweight division isn't really deep right now. I mean, you got Canelo, but then again, he's probably going to be taking on Crawford next, so I don't think Pacheco gets that shot anytime soon. Also, keep in mind, Pacheco's 23. So at 23 years of age, there is much more hope than, that's what gets me when you got these new age prospects who are in their late 20s and people go, no, there's still room for improvement. It's like, no, come on, the guy's 29, how much more? But 23, there is a lot of room for improvement. And
well, to me, he cannot fight for a title.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. But who would you like to see him fight against?
Moving up. Well, here are the options from what I hear. So Christian and Billy, that would be a great fight. But Christian and Billy is fighting another French guy,
right,
called Kevin Lele Sujo.
Okay, that's a French guy? Come on.
I mean, and Billy's from Cameroon originally, I believe.
I know, but
he resides in Quebec,
but French name, you expect something like Jean Robillard.
So he'll be fighting another French African, I guess. 24-0 with 21 knockouts. Apparently, this would be an IBF eliminator. They're going to go to a purse bid on January the 30th. So Christian Billy is locked in because he's going to be fighting this guy. Oh, and the winner would fight the IBF champion, the IBF super middleweight champion, which is William Skull.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Edgar Berlanga. That would be another great fight for Pacheco. Fortunately, Edgar Berlanga will be fighting on March the 8th of March in Puerto Rico against who knows who. They say it's going to be a very easy fight. It's like an extremely easy tune-up fight.
Viva Puerto Rico! Viva Puerto Rico!
That would be a great fight, though. And then Caleb Plant, the guy you were mentioning, I didn't find any info on Caleb Plant. I don't know if he's fighting. I mean, he's with the PBC, so you know how it works. He's
going to get one fight this year, and then that's it. So who will it be? Who's going to get that prestigious Caleb Plant fight?
Exactly. And Munguia, we know what's happening with Munguia. He's fighting that French guy again, Suras. So Pacheco won't be fighting Munguia anytime soon. So. Yeah, I don't know who could Pacheco fight next. That's a good question.
I gotta tell you, when I look at this lower rank or lower portion of the super middleweight division, I don't see anybody that I would overwhelmingly pick to beat Pacheco. Like Bazinian, he's from our neck of the woods here in Montreal, so he's good, but he's also a little bit limited. Berlanga, dangerous fight, especially Berlanga, I think, has learned a lot of that Canelo fight. He looked good defensively in that one, so that could be perhaps too much too soon, but I still think it looks like a 50-50 fight. Against Munguia, I would favor Pacheco with that big right hand. Against Suras, again, I would favor Pacheco a little bit. Shishkin, if nobody's ever seen Shishkin, he's like Alexander Gvozdyk light. He's got good skills, decent, well-schooled and everything, but again, nothing too overwhelming. School, same thing, hittable. Caleb Plant, that's where it gets problematic, I think, for Pacheco. Osleis Iglesias, by the way, this dude has been looking tremendous. He's Morel's replacement. Southpaw, Cuban, aggressive puncher. The only guy who's ever gone the distance against him is Chilemba. I think he was over in Germany. And then Christian Mbili has worked his way up to the number 1 ranking, right below the champ, Canelo Alvarez. So, interesting division. Interesting division, that's for sure. JA in the chat says Berlanga beats all these guys. Well, I don't know about that. But the other thing I want to say about Pacheco is, about this Pacheco fight, is that right before the fight, on fight week, Nelson's team, which includes Bomac McIntyre as trainer and Terrence Bud Crawford, they were doing a lot of jawing. They're the ones that instigated it. And then I see people in the comment sections for the weigh-in and all that, and they're like, "Oh man, I see something in Nelson." I just see something else, and he ain't gonna lie down. I see he's got, and then the commentators too were kept referencing Bomac and Crawford as if Bomac is and Crawford are these secret weapons that are gonna guarantee you a win. And I'm thinking, well, why do they keep referencing Crawford and Bomac? Crawford. Is Crawford gonna be fighting Pacheco? Is he gonna be in that ring? And then, so they did all this talking. Bomac was one of the things Bomac does very well, other than training, is opening his mouth, whether it's to talk or to put ram food inside that throat. Well, after the fight, he goes up to the press conference and he's in the stands and he starts asking, giving Pacheco his props and talking about how did you guys feel the fight went? And, what advice would you give us? And blah, blah, blah. And people in the comment section are like, man, Bomac is so humble. Bomac is so humble. I'm thinking, wait a minute. They're giving him props for being humble, but shouldn't he be humble after all that talking he was doing before the fight? What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, yeah, they were talking a lot of shit, the whole camp there, and but it's part of the game. That's what some people say. It's part of the game, but not all boxers behave like that. So, yeah, I'm for having a little bit of a show, in the pre-fight show and all of that, but I don't know, man.
Well, let me tell you this,
when the whole camp gets into that thing, when a boxer talks shit, and okay, that's fine. But when the trainers get in there and some other guys who you don't even know who the fuck they are, the entourage also starts getting into it. I was like, oh, this is overboard.
Yeah, listeners of this show will know that I am not a fan of the trash talking. Although I will say, like Butcher said, there's a way to do it correctly or properly, and we're going to get to that later when we get to Tito Marcato. But yeah, people are giving Bomac props for, and then other people were saying in the comment section were like, well, why you all take it so seriously? It's only boxing. That's what they're supposed to do. Thinking, well, first of all, no, you're not supposed to trash talk just because I don't know where that rule came up in boxing that boxers have to trash talk. Second of all, like Butcher said, not every boxer instigates trash talking. I mean, I don't see Usyk doing it. I don't see Ino doing it. I don't see Canelo instigating trash talking. I don't see Bam Rodriguez instigating trash talking. It's only certain fighters, and usually it's the type of fighters who they talk a big game on Twitter, social media, press conference. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that, and then they fight in the ass style, running around the ring, one punch at a time, clinching, and then when the fight's over, they jump on the corner rope in the ring and they start beating their chest like, yeah, I just whooped you. It's like, you didn't whoop anybody. The only people you whooped were the people into sleep, the audience. I mean, come on, these guys doing some. So yeah, I don't understand why people are giving Bomac so much praise. Like, oh man, was such a humble guy. He wasn't being so humble before the fight. Overdoing it.
He thanked Jesus after the fight, so that just makes it all good,
Yeah, I guess that makes up for it. Well, the other thing is, again, they kept referencing Bomac and Crawford. Bomac and Crawford, like, oh man, Bomac and Crawford are going to make a difference. I think Bomac at this point, and some people in the comment section pointed it out, Bomac is starting to get overrated. And I said that way before. I said he's getting into Reynoso, Virgil Hunter territory where they had one pound-for-pound guy, and then all of a sudden all these fighters start gravitating around that trainer, thinking that he's some sort of Rosetta Stone or panacea that's going to really transform them and elevate them into pound-for-pound stalwarts. That's not how it works. It's a two-way thing that occurs, at a give and take. The trainer can only do so much. And it reminds me of when Shane Mosley was going to fight Mayweather. Now, you will recall that he had Nassim Richardson in his corner, Mosley did. And Nassim Richardson was still riding that wave of, he got Mosley to figure out the Margarito riddle, how to break down a guy in Margarito. And then they said, he's got Hopkins too, in his, as a fighter. So Nassim Richardson and Hopkins are going to get together and they're going to come up with a game plan for Mosley against Mayweather. And then what happened? Mayweather, he got rocked, yeah. And afterwards, he really did whoop. That was a whooping Mosley's ass. So, this is the same thing. It reminds me of this fight. Nelson, just because he was sparring Crawford and he had Bomac in his corner, they thought he was going to do something spectacular. I'm thinking Crawford can't fight for you. And Bomac definitely isn't going to be fighting anybody. I think the only time Bomac gets into a fight now is when people try to pry off the Cheeto bags out of his hands, because this dude is not doing any fighting. And here's the other thing. People are starting to realize, like I said, that Bomac is starting to be just a little tad overrated. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of the times, especially nowadays, it's more like a PR move. Because I remember when Munguia was with Eric Morales, then all of a sudden he went with Freddie Roach after the Canelo loss. I think it was to like rebuild his profile, and then all of a sudden now he's with the Canelo's trainer, because obviously Canelo's popular, so he keeps himself in the limelight. Same thing with Nelson. I mean, Crawford's having success. He's popular, and he goes with Bomac to make his name more known. So a lot of times, trainers get overrated because they have one fighter that's having a lot of success.
Well, I mean, it's the name of the game. That's how it works. As boxers they're athletes, and athletes tend to be a little borderline superstitious, and they're always looking for some sort of holy grail that's going to elevate them. We saw it with Virgil Hunter. We saw it with Eddie Reynoso. And now we're seeing it with Bomac, where people think, these boxers think, well, if I hire Bomac, he's going to get me to the level of a Terence Crawford. And that leads me to why, again, just embarking on this Crawford-Canelo saga. Again, the fight's not made, but it could. There's strong chances that it will get made for September. And we've talked about in the last couple of episodes how a lot of people really seem to be underrating Canelo Alvarez and overrating Terence Crawford. And I just want to show you a snippet here. Now, I can't show you the full video. I'll just show you the audio. But as you can see here, Crawford was in attendance for the fight last night, and they kept referencing him and Bomac as if they're celebrities. And so look at this. So Crawford comes up, right? He's watching the fight, and then listen to the commentary. Listen to how they talk about him. It might give you an idea about why so many people are picking Crawford over Canelo so vehemently.
There's Bud Crawford. Eyes locked in. It's like Rain Man doing the calculations in his brain.
That's exactly what it is,
So for anybody that missed it, he said, they show Crawford there intently watching his sparring partner, Steven Nelson, fighting, and he go, locked in, downloading information like Rain Man. And then Sean Porter, who's doing the co-commentary, goes, that's exactly what it is. I'm thinking, the last time I heard a fighter being talked about that way was Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson at the height of Shakur Mania over at ESPN. You don't hear, even Usyk doesn't really get that type of talk unless I've missed it. What do you guys think? Is this sort of indicative of why Crawford's sort of being given a chance against Canelo? That they think that he's this mastermind, super high IQ Floyd Mayweather type boxer?
Good boxer, but we were talking, and you brought up some good points last time that, usually when Crawford gets the win and people forget, okay, he won, but he was in close fights up to the moment until he got that knockout, versus Benavidez, versus other fighters, even Khan. Khan was winning some rounds, but did the power bailed him out versus the Ukrainian dude Postal and stuff like that, even Sean Porter. So when the fight, before the fight abruptly ended because Crawford got the knockout, I mean, those fights were going back and forth. Mm-hmm. So obviously he's not a master boxer to where he's winning all the rounds and all these fights. He's losing rounds or 50-50. So he's not a master boxer.
I mean, he's a good boxer. He's a very good boxer. But I think the way Boxing Chief presented it once, he broke it down perfectly when he said, well, what makes a guy or a boxer a high-level boxer or damn near pound for pound the best in the world? It's not just the skills. There has to be physical talents, and even if there's something missing skills-wise, maybe the physical talent is so overwhelming that it makes up for some lack of skills. In other words, you got to put all the parts together to be an all-time great fighter or a great pound-for-pound fighter for your generation. And that's what Terence Crawford is. He's got long arms. He's got power. He's got speed. He's had a size advantage over a lot of his opponents, even at welterweight. And on top of that, he's smart as a boxer. He knows what he's doing. He's got good instincts. But like Gonzalo said, when you describe him as a boxer and watch his fights, you would not describe him as a pure master boxer, a guy who relies overwhelmingly on his skills to get the job done. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing here, that a lot of what Crawford's done to get to where he is by virtue of his physical gifts which will no longer be as accentuated against a guy like Canelo Alvarez, because we saw that they were sort of degrading against Madrimov. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. And let me say it like this. You know, when they reference and they say, "Well, Crawford got the dog. He's an aggressive fighter in there," right? When he was fighting Sean Porter, I think he went to his corner and they told him, "Hey, man, you need to step it up because the fight's close or something."
Mm-hmm.
And then he went out there and knocked him out. Then versus Ihidijas Kavaliuskas, I think he got dropped. I don't know if they counted it or not. He went to his corner, but then all of a sudden he had to bring the dog out.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. Now, what if he's in a close fight versus Canelo and they tell him in the corner, "Hey, you got to bring the dog out"? Is that dog that knocked out Kavaliuskas and Porter gonna come out and knock out a Canelo? Probably not, because we know Canelo has got a great chin and he's a bigger guy. So what he did to those guys, he's probably not gonna do to Canelo. So now, can you tell me, him being a master boxer, where does that fit into what I just said?
I mean, that's what I've been wondering, because we've said it before. His career seems to have been very Deontay Wilderish, and people are going to say that's heresy. But hear me out. Obviously, he's much more skilled than Deontay Wilder, but there, like Gonzalo referenced, there's been fights where it's gone down to the wire or close to the wire, and he's managed to bail himself out with power. That option might not be available against Saul Canelo Alvarez. So if he finds out that all of a sudden he's not that master boxer that he's been made out to be, and he's getting it, let's just even say that the fight is close against Canelo and it's going down to the wire, is he going to have that power to bail himself out? And we already saw against Madrimov, that fight was very close, despite what Bradley and Shakur Stevenson, who are part of the Bud Buddies crew, had to say. They said it wasn't close at all. In fact, I think Shakur Stevenson or Bradley, I think they had it 8-4 for Crawford. It was a very competitive fight. I mean, Crawford's eye wasn't getting swollen for nothing. His right eye, I believe. So, or left, whatever. That was against Madrimov, a guy who has about 10 professional fights and is not as good as Canelo. He does a lot of things well. Might even do some things a little bit better than Canelo. Some things. But overall, like I said, when you put everything together, fighters become different entities. And so that was my whole thing in the build-up to this Nelson Pacheco fight. It was that they kept referencing Bomac, he's the secret weapon. I'm thinking, I don't know, I think he's being a tad overrated at this point. That's the way it seems to me. By the way, last note on this Canelo Crawford thing, Keyshawn Davis being part of the Nelson McIntyre Bud Buddy crew was interviewed. Him and his brother, I didn't know he had a brother, were interviewed and they were asked about who would win between Canelo and Crawford. And check out Keyshawn Davis's brother's answer.
Bud Canelo, give me your thoughts on that.
I got Canelo. Damn.
No, we didn't. He didn't say that.
Bud. Hey, facts. I got Bud.
I mean, look at Keyshawn Davis. Looks like what the fuck did you just say? You're not supposed to say that out loud, man.
I don't even think they believe what they're saying. They just have to say that Bud Crawford's going to win just because they don't want to get any backlash, from.
You think Crawford's going to pull a Undertaker Ministry of Darkness mode? He's going to tie them up and whip him or something as punishment?
Yeah, exactly. No, but they have to pick Bud Crawford. That's how it works.
I mean, listen, I've said it before. I never, I rarely say, "Oh, this fighter has no chance at winning." I mean, Crawford has a chance, and we're gonna be, if the fight gets made, we're gonna give a how the fight could potentially go if Crawford wins it. I mean, you never know. But like what you're saying, these guys, oh yeah, he's gonna box him. Like they're so certain of it. And I think Keyshawn Davis' brother slipped up. I think that was a Freudian slip right there, and he sort of let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, who's saying that? Raw Dog? No, who's saying Raw Dog says he got off coat. Off coat. Oh man, I gotta tell you.
If he would have done better against Madrimov, I would give Crawford more of a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be more like enthusiastic and feeling a lot like these guys do. I'm not saying that I would pick Crawford, but because look, okay, yeah, Madrimov, he's a good fighter. I don't know if he's undefeated or not. I think he is. But I mean, okay, then he jumped up one weight class. Mind you, Crawford's like 37. But not only that, he's jumping up 2 more weight classes. But at 54, when Crawford fought Madrimov, it was such a close fight that how can these guys possibly be like, oh well, then he mops the floor with Canelo, he wins handedly. If he would have beat fucking Madrimov convincingly, then I could have been like, oh, okay, well, let me think about it a little bit more. And then, yes, I would be more excited for the fight. But people gradually will convince themselves as the fight starts approaching.
Yes.
They will find reasons in their minds to convince themselves.
Well, we saw it with Charlo. We saw it with the Canelo-Charlo fight. When the fight was made, Charlo's too small, moving up 2 divisions, blah, blah, blah. Then they started seeing that, hey, Charlo's not that small. He's starting to fill up that larger, taller frame than Canelo's. And then we saw on fight week, same thing with Demetrius Andrade Benavides. Oh, Benavides is going to run through him, blah, blah, blah. Then on fight week, I don't know, Andrade is better than Plant. He's more slick and he's more skilled. And same thing here, Gonzalo and Bucho, you're right. On fight week, you're going to start seeing a lot of people picking Crawford. We're already seeing it. Rick Glacier's picking Crawford, what's his name? Tim Bradley, Shakur Stevenson. Let's exclude those guys. Let's say Porter and not Porter. Bradley and Stevenson. Let's exclude them because they're part of the Bud Buddies crew. But I mean, you got Alexander Usyk, you got Buddy McGirt. I think De La Hoya. I don't know if he changed his mind, but I think he picked Shakur Stevenson. I mean, excuse me, Terrence Crawford. So yeah, I mean, people are already doing it. Teddy Atlas. Although, again, he picked Charlo to beat Canelo. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Lion Legal, shout out to Lion Legal in the chat, says, BD, drop the call number. We're going to be dropping it soon, by the way. I forgot to say. Yeah, we're going to be opening
the other 2 fights, and then we can maybe open the phone lines.
Absolutely. Let's get to the Andy Cruz fight. Andy Cruz from Cuba, Olympic gold medalist, took on Omar Salcido and defeated him by scores of one scored of 98-92, another one of 99, 2 scorecards of 99-91. He moves to a record of 5-0 with 2 knockouts. Fast track. Salcido was a strong guy, in shape obviously to be able to take some of the shots that Cruz hit him with. Cruz did eat some shots, but that's because he was being a little aggressive. He wasn't running around the ring. He wasn't trying to dart in and out. He was really. Some people compare him to Bivol a little bit. What do you guys think? What did you think of the performance?
Oh, I didn't watch it, BDA. I went to Dick's Sporting Goods to buy a ski mask, and my battery ran out on the scooter.
Shame on you.
I don't want to hear excuses.
Yeah, you didn't miss much. I mean, this guy Salcido, very basic boxer. He didn't really bring that much. I mean, Andy Cruz got to give him credit for outboxing this guy, but Andy Cruz is an Olympic boxer, and he has power. Actually, he was hurting Salcido, so. A lot of times we criticize these Cuban boxers, but Andy Cruz, all right, he's not a fully exciting boxer. He's not very exciting, but he has power. He's active. He's not running around like Rigondeaux or Elson Lara. So he's not like the typical Cuban type of boxer. And I don't know what else to say about this, but he just outboxed that season. I want to see him against somebody else, a better boxer.
Yeah, I think it's, he's 29, by the way. Andy Cruz, so he's not exactly a spring chicken. So when people say, well, he can actually maybe improve his power, I think as it pertains to power, this is the best you're going to get. He does crack. He can wear guys down with accumulation, but him all of a sudden becoming this one-punch knockout guy is not going to happen. So if people go in there into an Andy Cruz fight expecting it to all of a sudden be more exciting, the bar I'm setting for Andy Cruz is what we saw yesterday. He's a very technically sound fighter with that Olympic pedigree. He won't run around the ring in the ass style. He's actually fully committed to that pro style now where he's putting his guard up and every once in a while he'll take a step back and then counter off of that. And again, not the humongous puncher. Salcido was coming off a stoppage win over Chris Colbert, so he'd been in there with speed before, although compromise or reduced speed from Colbert's side, but nevertheless he was experienced, he was tough, he was well conditioned. So I don't besmirch Cruz too much for not stopping him because I sort of expected this.
No, he shouldn't have stopped. I don't think he should have stopped. Salcido was just very hesitant,
right,
to let his hands go.
I think a guy like Cepeda
I don't know.
A guy like Cepeda could beat a guy like Salcido. Maybe even a guy like Cruz, but yeah, guys like Andy Cruz, another Cruz. No, that's why I wasn't terribly bored by the performance because I knew what to expect coming in. I didn't have this idea of Andy Cruz is gonna fucking blitz this guy. No, so I think people should take my advice and do the same whenever they go into an Andy Cruz fight. By the way, they kept mentioning every time they mention Andy Cruz, they gotta bring up Keyshawn Davis, or Key as we like to call him on this show. And Andy Cruz is a very solid fighter. Does Keyshawn Davis possess the key to unlock the Andy Cruz style? What do you guys think?
What's the question? What? Because I was reading the chat. I can't do. I'm reading the chat at the same time here. Some people are
Cruz
saying,
and Keyshawn Davis. How does that go?
Cruz and Keyshawn?
Keyshawn. You're supposed to call him Key. You're supposed to call him Key. You're supposed to call him Key.
Key. I mean, Key beats this guy. Key beats. I mean, yeah, for sure. For sure.
I don't know, man. I think,
yeah.
Let's see how Keyshawn Davis looks against Baranchik. And even if he looks good against Baranchik, which I don't know, Andy Cruz is I don't know how Keyshawn Davis would handle the speed and counterpunching from Cruz. Look at how he fought when he fought Albright, with the fight that was overturned to a no contest because Keyshawn proved positive for the wacky tobacco. I think Keyshawn Davis, based on that Lemos performance, which, by the way, I really like the Lemos performance because he went for the knockout as opposed to running around the ring. So I give Keyshawn Davis credit. However, to say that he absolutely beats Andy Cruz, I don't know. I still think it's a highly competitive fight. But yeah, they're not going to make that one right away. But by the way, one thing that's interesting about that is that they mentioned during the fight that Andy Cruz has been tweeting and on social media mentioning Keyshawn Davis, because again, he beat Keyshawn Davis 4 times in the amateurs, and he called them, apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently Andy Cruz refers to Keyshawn Davis as his son. You know the implication right there. Might as well call him his prison bitch.
Fight.
Yeah.
Trying to sell that fight.
But here's what I don't get.
I didn't know that, by the way.
Well, now you know. And here's the interesting thing about that. Look, if you're going to talk smack to somebody, they take that seriously nowadays because everyone's always talking smack. All these fighters, a lot of these fighters, young fighters, are talking smack to each other on social media. So check this out. This is Andy Cruz after the fight. He jumps out of the ring and goes over to Keyshawn Davis and a bunch. Well, that's with Raymond Ford, but check this out. Gotta meet the music. Okay. So that he goes to Keyshawn Davis. See that? He sort of like hesitated a little bit and gave him a fist bump. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. And then Shakur Stevenson did take his hand. If you're talking so much smack about a guy, calling him your son, your prison bitch, whatever, why did you go down there smiling and everything, trying to be friends with the guy? Like, shouldn't you be saying, hey, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. These guys don't know how to do the smack talk, man. And that's what we're going to get to with Tito Marcato next. But what do you guys think about that? Him going up to Keyshawn Davis, like, did he expect a handshake or something?
I mean, it's obviously nothing personal. He's just, Cruz is just talking smack, trying to sell a fight.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how it works.
Just trying to start the hype because it's going to be a long time if it even takes place. So they want to get the rumblings going, like, you know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you something. I don't know how they do it down there in Cuba, but over here, north of the Gulf of Mexico, if a guy starts calling you your son or his son, prison bitch, whatever, that's go time if we see each other in the streets. That's how Mr. BDA does it. Mr. BDA don't play. So I got to give a C- to, or actually a F, full-on fail to Andy Cruz for smack talking and then trying to give that guy a handshake. No, sorry, Bob. Shouldn't be happening. So let's move on now to the other fight on that card. And that was Ernesto Tito Marcato stopping Jose Pedrasa in the 4th round. Now moves to a very glossy record of 17-0 with 16 knockouts. Guys, well, I don't know who saw that fight, but what did you think about that fight?
Well, I mean, Pedrasa, who is this guy again? Former world champion, very old at this point. This took a place at 140. I mean, that's Jose Pedrasa, I believe he started boxing at 130.
Mm-hmm.
So, still, I mean, what can I say? Marcato looks good. He has power. He looks like a welterweight in size. And so that maybe played a factor in this fight. That's pretty much all I have to say. I mean, I want to get to the Shakur thing later on, though.
Well, Ernesto Mercado, by the way, does not look. You look at him and you go, okay, what is he, like Dominican or Puerto Rican or something? Half Mexican, half
I thought
Nicaraguan.
he was Puerto Rican, man. I'm telling you. I told you yesterday.
Well, it's easy to make that mistake because, first of all, the nickname Tito. I mean, which Mexican have you ever heard of a Mexican named Tito? And you look at him facially, yeah, he doesn't look like a Mexican. But again, that's where the Nicaraguan mix comes in. By the way, every time I say Nicaragua, I'm going to start doing it with the Spanish thing. Nicaragua. He's half Mexican, half Nicaragua. But listen, Mercado, 23 years old, very hard puncher. Actually has built himself quite a respectable dossier for such a young guy. He has a knockout win over Henry Lundy, who's a very good veteran. He has a stoppage win over Jeremiah Nakatila, who you will recall in 2021 made Shakur Stevenson run all over the ring. So Mercado stopped that guy, Nakatila, like Murataya did as well. He also has a win over, well, now he's got a win over his Pedrasa. Oh, and he has a win over Jolani Dongeni, who is a guy that's gone the distance with guys like Devin Haney and Barbosa, I think, is the only one who stopped him so far. But lately we saw him on ESPN in 2024 taking Murataya that distance. So this guy's a solid contender or solid or fringe contender test for young guys, and Mercado dropped him. So the power is there. When he's been fighting these sort of older contenders or durable, veterans, he manages to stop him, and he did the same thing with Pedrasa. So, interesting fight. Pedrasa was backing him up. He was trying to back him up, but as it often happens with older fighters or fighters who are on the long end of their career, because Pedrasa, I don't think is that old, by the way. I think he's still in his... How old is he? Let me check.
Really?
35. But it's just he's been through the ring.
He's been around for a while. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah. So boxing age, yeah, he's kind of old, and
he's got a few ass whippings already.
Yeah,
yeah, he has, man. And he was doing well.
Shakur.
He was pushing. What?
No, go ahead.
He was pushing Mercado back. So that was good. Mercado, what I liked was that he was backing up, but he was throwing punches in bunches. He wasn't getting overwhelmed or anything. And he knew that Pedrasa was trying to take him into deep water, so he wasn't going overboard with the offense. But Pedrasa was doing well coming forward, but it's just like, as it happens with guys who are on the long end of their careers, couldn't pull that trigger. See, guys, it's one thing to close the distance and cut the ring off. That's just one part of the equation. The next part is actually letting your hands go, and he couldn't do that. And then that one punch that dropped him, I'm glad the referee stopped the fight because, yeah, it was going to end badly for him afterwards. Speaking of afterwards, Tito Mercado, because Shakur Stevenson was there, had a lot to say about Shakur Stevenson. Again, I can't play you the video, but Shakur Stevenson was sitting there at the ringside in a blue hoodie, and this is what Mercado had to say. Whoops. Yeah, this is what Marcato had to say about that.
It's my energy, but I was just staying calm, man, hitting the bodies, picking my shots right, and then when I saw the perfect shot, I took him out.
What were you seeing from him early on? Because he was coming forward, but he wasn't throwing a lot of punches your way.
Nah, he was scared, man. He was scared to get countered with a good shot. With these other fighters, I got no power like Keyshawn, somebody like Shakur, he'll do the same thing. He'll throw a lot of punches, but with me, he don't want to do none of that.
So he says that Pedrasa, when he fights all these other type of guys, he'll throw a lot of shots because he doesn't respect them, but against him, he had to respect the power, and then he said this.
A little comfortable, thinking that he had his range down. I'm going to reach, and I was going to be able to counter.
First fight now of your Matchroom deal. What do you want 2025 to look like?
I want that punk right there, sitting down in the blue sweatsuit. I'll widen up that gap between these two. He ain't going to do shit. Yeah, shut up, pussy.
You look out to Shakur Stevenson. He's at 135 right now. Got a fight scheduled in about a month time from now. If not Shakur, what else do you think is out there for you?
Man, just any of the champions. You got Richard Hitchinson that also just won the title right now, IBF. I'm willing to whoop his ass first. If his pussy ass scared to fight me next.
All right, now, I got to say something. Well, what do you guys think about the trash talking there from Mercado?
It's fun, entertaining. He's not getting his whole camp into this. He's not a brawl happening in the stands. So I guess it's fun. I don't know what he's calling out a 135-pounder, though. And again, Mercado looks like a welterweight, so I think he should be challenging welterweights.
Yeah,
the Hitchens
5'10".
fight would be interesting, though. The Hitchens fight would be interesting. There's a lot of options at 140. It's one of the best divisions right now. So he should focus on 140. Forget about Shakur. He has other people to fight right now at 135.
Shakur. You know the guy there?
I'll call him Stevenson, man. I don't know why. Stevenson's like, there's a lot of boxers with the name Stevenson. So I don't know. I just call him Shakur.
Gonzalo, what do you think about Tito Marcato as a fighter and the trash talking? Gonzalo. Yeah, I think you might be on mute without realizing again.
No, he's not muted.
All right.
Well, anyways.
Well, I'll say this, man.
Yeah.
About Marcato. Like I said, well, I already broke down a little bit what I liked about him fight-wise. By the way, you're right. He's 5'10", by the way. 5'10". That's welterweight proportions right there.
Mm-hmm.
Those are welterweight proportions. Yeah, him calling out lightweights. But you know what? That's what I wanted to get to. First of all, there was an interview he did with True School. True School was interviewing him, I think earlier in the week or last week, I forget, thereabouts. And this dude has a lot to say about the guy. He fought a lot of good amateurs, by the way. And he has a lot to say about them. He says these guys are pussies, I whooped them, blah, blah, blah. This is what he has to say about Christopher Hitchens. He keeps referring to Hitchens as sorry-ass Hitchens. When it comes to Keyshawn Davis, he calls him Keyshawn Bitch Davis. And every time he refers to Stevenson, he refers to him as that pussy Stevenson. Yeah, that pussy Stevenson. So he's
yeah,
like,
I don't know why. What the fuck, man?
He reminds me of Donald Trump. Remember when he had nicknames for everybody? Lion Ted, Marco Rubio. That's what he reminds me of, but in a cruder version. Again, I generally dislike trash talking, especially when fighters can't back it up, or when it looks like it's too obvious that these guys, it doesn't fit with their personality, or when they come out doing all this trash talking like Shakur Stevenson did to Conceição, or like he did with De Los Santos, or Artem Hartunonian. It's like, I'm going to whoop you. And like you said, the team gets involved. He going to whoop you.
Yeah.
You chose the wrong one. And then running around the ring, one punch at a time, shaking his ass. And I'm thinking that I really dislike that. But Tito Marcato, first of all, I think it comes from the heart. And he's not going overboard with, I'm the
from the heart.
Yeah, I do think so. It's refreshing. He's not going in there saying, I'm the best all the time necessarily. He just says, I'm going to whoop him. And I like that he goes straight to the heart of the matter and just call him a pussy, because it's true. These guys are always talking, like I said, they're always talking on the net, talking about what they're going to do, and they don't deliver. They talk about how they're going to fight each other. They never fight each other. So it's almost like Marcato's coming in here, cleaning house, calling them for what they are, exposing them. They're bitches, a lot of these guys. They're pussies. They're not fighting each other. They're not delivering when they're fighting. So I thought it was refreshing from Marcato. Like I said, I thought it was from the heart. I thought it was a country style. And then on top of that, he backs it up with punching power. So whether he's calling out lightweights, super featherweights, whatever, somebody needs to call him out. A real fighter needs to come along and say, you know what? These guys, they're not about that life, as they say. They're not about that street life. He's going to take him out. Also, what I like I said, 23 years old. He's already built himself a decent resume. So I like what I see from Tito Marcato. And if people really want to trash talk, or they want to root for a trash talker, I think this is the guy that's a little bit more. He really seems to dislike these guys, by the way, Bucho. It reminds me a little bit of Caleb Plant. You know, like Caleb Plant always used to say, like, oh, these guys are on my division. I don't want to be friends with them. I don't want to say things too nice about them because I'm going to have to fight them one day. And the same thing with Marcato.
Getting into that, the right mentality to take these people out.
Absolutely. So, yeah, when he calls, says, what does he call Richardson Hitchens? He says, sorry ass Christopher Richardson Hitchens. Yeah, I think, that's the fight I'm looking forward to. Or him against the winner of Teofimo Lopez versus Hitchens. But again, Bucho, you tend to be more on the side of, don't build these fights up too much. Just, if the guy's good, just put him in there already against the big name. With Marcato, 23 years old, has never gone, I think he's never gone 12 rounds. I think the only time he won the distance was, yeah.
He's allowed to talk shit after that knockout against Jose Pedrasa, the temple shot. When you have when you end a fight that way, you know what? You can't trash talk. You can't call people out. You're not gonna go call people out after you stink out the joint for 12 rounds, right?
Mm-hmm,
That's just embarrassing. You should actually say, "I'm sorry for this this shitty performance. I won't happen again." No, what they do is, I'm gonna get this, and they have a whole list of who they want to fight and shit. Like, shut the fuck up. No, this guy, Ernesto Mercado, he had the right to call out Shakur Stevenson and anybody else.
Well, look at that picture. Shout out to Solvers who took this. This is Shakur Stevenson losing it ringside when he was on. I mean, again, this Shakur Stevenson makes all these faces. He looks like a skull right there. Looks like the Red Skull or something. But then when he steps in the ring, he's got all these excuses. Well, my hand hurt. Remember when he accused Artem of running in his last fight? He accused that guy. He was standing right in front of you. He wasn't running. It's like, what are you talking about? Running. So
BDA mentioned what Shakur was commentating, by the way, one of these fights. Which one was it?
Yeah. The Cruz fight, yeah.
It was a Cruz fight, yes, the Cruz fight. And Shakur kept mentioning how, like, well, you shouldn't take, Cruz shouldn't take any unnecessary risk. He kept talking about risks and not taking unnecessary risks. This is because, why is he talking so much about risks? Because that's what happens in his own fucking mind. That's the most important thing, a risk and not getting hurt. And then it's like, that's what people who are scared fucking think about the whole time, a risk.
I agree. People were commenting that on the Discord. I forget what he said exactly. I couldn't find the clips, but the commentators also brought it. I think Chris Mannix at some point brought it up. I was like, well, people have accused your fights of being boring. You could tell Shakur Stevenson already had some answers prepared for that. But yeah, essentially he was saying they were sort of deliberating whether Cruz should be opening up more against Cedo, who's a decent puncher. And Shakur Stevenson's like, I don't think he should be taking risks. I mean, why would he need to do that? And then he sort of tried to balk it. He sort of tried to walk it back a little bit, saying, well, I mean, I like to take risks sometimes, but I don't think you should take unnecessary risks. So what does that mean? So you should be taking them or you shouldn't be taking them?
So a risk is a risk. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And it's boxing. You got to open up. When you throw a punch, you're opening up.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
So either you throw punches or you don't throw punches. That's how it works.
But a lot of these guys tend to think that, if I open up with a 3-punch combination, 1 punch is going to knock me out. I'm thinking, well, if you're throwing 3 punches and you're not generally well-versed in getting out of the way right afterwards, or even while you're throwing the punch, moving your head, then that's on you, man. What the fuck? We've seen, Usyk throws a lot of punches. He's not throwing 1 punch at a time, running around the ring, shaking his ass. And he's fighting guys that outweigh him by 30 pounds. So if these guys can't do it to guys their own size, or in Shakur Stevenson's case, guys that he outweighs, then I guess this sport really shouldn't be for him, man. I don't know. But yeah, that sort of rubbed me the wrong. Gonzalo, what did you think of that? I don't know if you heard that, but they were asking Shakur Stevenson in between. Yeah.
Who Tito Mercado? If Tito Mercado should be taking more risks?
No, well, no. They were watching the Andy Cruz fight.
He didn't watch the Cruz fight.
I know.
No, but what was the question?
Shakur Stevenson was watching the Cruz fight, commentating for a couple of rounds, and they were deliberating about whether Cruz should be taking more risk. And Shakur Stevenson's like, nah, he shouldn't be taking unnecessary risks. I'm thinking, well, why not? What's wrong with taking a couple of risks and making the fight entertaining? Are you going to get knocked out with 1 punch? What does that happen?
Well, of course, to each their own. I don't think Shakur has the capability of taking those risks because he doesn't like getting there. Of course he could, but he's probably in fear, or he knows that he's susceptible to getting knocked out. So he never wants to take those risks, whether he has a good chin or not, or he doesn't want to get embarrassed in public TV.
Well,
he's never gonna fight like that. So he does not have those type of options. Where other fighters do. Other fighters might be able to catch a punch and come on strong and be aggressive and might not care if, the world is watching. And, like Bucho said, a risk is a risk. Some fighters are willing to do that, go big or go home, while others are not, or they don't have the capability to withstand the punch or go through the maybe embarrassment. But like I said, it's a risk. Sometimes you win, or either go big or go home. And apparently, Shakur Stevenson is not about showing that aspect of his abilities or whatnot, of putting himself out there to have that reward of becoming the star in the eyes of people as an exciting fighter. While others might.
To your point, because people could say, well, that's all speculation, blah, blah, blah. We have some evidence to suggest that Shakur Stevenson is the type of guy who's not, he doesn't, because, people say that. People have said, when you talk about a fighter and you accuse him of not liking getting hit, people will go, well, nobody likes getting hit. And again, we've covered that before, that some fighters, in a general sense, a warped sense of reality, do sort of enjoy the contact, the risk of, hey, I might get hit, man. That's part of the thrill for them. Then there's also other guys who, they seem to have a low pain threshold. In other words, they get hit with a little something and they go nuts and they start running around the ring. Like Vladimir Klitschko was an example. He would get touched and you would see his eyes open wide and he would start clinching. He would start falling all over the place. So let me show you some evidence about Shakur Stevenson, because we know after the Nakatila fight, he got hurt with that right hand and started running for 6 rounds. And he said after the fight, I got touched, I didn't like it, but next time I'll do better. Well, he didn't do better against De Los Santos. And then check this out. This is a clip of him sparring. That's Shakur Stevenson is the guy in the blue pants. Oh, no, excuse me. He's the guy in the yellow with the yellow guard. Hold on. This is slow motion for some reason. He gets hit with a right hand and starts pretending like, wait, my headgear. And he starts turning around. Okay? Then you get this clip from, I think it's the same sparring session. That's again Shakur Stevenson with the gray shorts calling a timeout. Look at this. Let me play this sound. Hold up. And he did this. I mean, I don't know. He was doing the same trick when he was sparring Devin Haney too. If you watch those sparring sessions with Haney, there were some points where he was complaining about the headgear. I think that's what he does when he gets hit. Or at least he used to do it when the headgear is involved. It's like, oh, hold on. I mean, again, we saw the Nakatila fight. We saw the Los Santos fight. We got these 2 clips from sparring where he's calling timeout. I mean, I don't know, man. I think Gonzalo's onto something. I think Bucho as well. This guy that's why he fights the way he fights, leaping back so much. He doesn't want to get hit. He might not have that confidence. He might know something we don't know about his own chin. So we'll see what happens. But Gonzalo, did you have...
Just let everybody just have an opportunity here to tell people to check out our second channel, BDA Boxing Clips. I'm going to post a link in the chat. It's also in the description. We're posting now, short clips, fight analysis videos, and boxing news. So check it out. Link, there you go. And also check out our Patreon for more content as well. You can subscribe for free. It's free content, so go check it out. Link in the description. Patreon.
Absolutely. Go check it out. Check it out right now. Well, not right now, but you know the drill. But Gonzalo, I'm going to open up the phone lines, by the way, guys. So stay tuned for that in a couple of seconds. But Gonzalo, what did you think about Tito Marcato?
Sorry, BD, I missed it because I went to the store and my scooter ran out of battery, electric scooter.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to give you credit for something, man, because you were saying in the Discord that that Pacheco was going to stop him in the 8th round. Pacheco was going to stop Nelson. Now, of course, I'm not giving you credit for that because he didn't stop him, but you were able to read the rhythm of the fight because in that 8th round, that's when Pacheco started opening up. In fact, in the 9th round, that's when Bomag was starting to scream at Nelson with a lot of urgency. So I give you credit for that you were able to read the rhythm of the fight. And that, in the 3rd round, you called it. You said, I think he's going to stop him in the 8th. And sure enough, in the 8th, that's when things started getting more ugly for Nelson. So shout out to Gonzalo for that. You can only imagine what he would have said about Marcato and Andy Cruz had he not been at the store buying a ski mask. But why do you need a ski mask, by the way?
No, because of the wind chill factor. I'm in Vegas now, so I'm riding the scooter like downhill, and it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
I think it hit under 30 degrees for the first time in 2 years here in Vegas. Under 30 or 20, I forgot. But for you, that might be nothing because you're from Canada. It's just really cold out there. No, but the wind chill factor, when you're riding like 20-something miles per hour, like no protection, and that wind catches your face, it gets really cold.
Connect to show.
Nah, yeah, but you're right.
Mind you, I was in the Philippines too, so I got acclimatized for like 7 years to the weather over there.
Hey, Gonzalo, are you going to the Benavides fight?
I'm considering it. I'm really thinking about going. I don't know if tickets are still available. Probably yes. Yeah. So I might just buy them on the same day.
Yeah, good. That's the best option.
Yeah, I read on Twitter that they're going to start lowering the prices now for some of these for that card. So you might be able to go and get some decent seats at the last minute, maybe even. That's the other thing. This fight yesterday was in Vegas, Gonzalo. You could have gone there, or you could have at least passed by.
Oh, really? It was in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one was. Yeah.
I was a little thrown off because I saw David Benavidez in the top ranked card in San Luis Potosí, Mexico, I believe. Wasn't he there in Omar Chavez? Because as soon as the fight ended, I clicked over to that, and he was getting interviewed by the Mexican broadcaster in Spanish. So I'm thinking, oh no, what am I saying? I don't know why you said that. No,
yeah, Omar Chavez fought. I didn't even watch it.
Benavidez is in Vegas.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, but Pacheco trains with Benavidez' dad. Okay, I get it. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, they are. It was here. Okay, I get it now. Yeah, because Benavidez' team is here also. So he's training Pacheco, so it was here in Vegas, obviously.
Yep.
Hey, by the way, the phone lines are open in case people want to call in, give us their thoughts on yesterday's fights and all the fights that are upcoming. There's been some fights are starting to be are being announced. So if you want to talk about whatever, you just call in. The number's right there in the left-hand middle portion of your screen. Also, there was a fight, Dalton Smith. I didn't even write this one down because I didn't get a chance to watch the full fight, but campaigning at 140, big puncher. Apparently, Tony Bellew was saying that this dude beats Puello. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I don't know.
Puello and somebody else. I mean, he was talking about it. This guy's going to beat all this. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I didn't see the fight, so can't really tell.
Hey, by the way, let's go to the phone lines, and then we'll get back to this. Still a lot of things to talk about, and we'll try to be here for another half hour, maybe even an hour, depending on how things go. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. It really helps us out. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 210. 210. You're on the air. 210. What's on your mind?
Hey, Southpaw. What's up? Texas.
Oh, what's up, Southpaw?
Yeah, chilling, man. Chilling, just listening. I was watching the fights last night. Pacheco, he's good, man. He's still developing. You know, like I think he could have maybe like used the jab more, set everything up more for the jab, use his height. And you saw when he let his hands go and he got his rhythm, then it started to all come together, but he put it together a little too late. And, he almost got him out of there. But I think if it would have started earlier, he would have got a knockout. But, that's his thing. He's a slow starter. He's got to work on that. But he's a young kid. He looks good. He's hungry. I like what he says, And I don't know if y'all saw with like there's like a YouTuber, man. Y'all got to be careful when y'all go to fights, man, because I guess he was getting interviewed by one of these LDBC guys, and he's like, "Hey, man, you spread false rumors, false lies, whatever." And then like some big ass Mexican dude from his entourage was like got that YouTuber's face, and he pushed him. And like the dude went flying across the room, bro. It was crazy, man. So that's good. I mean, I like ring IQ, man, but that's why that dude never leaves his fucking living room, man. Because that dude like has a secret crush on Benavidez, and he can't stop talking about the guy in a negative way, like because he loves Canelo so much. And that's why these YouTubers got to be careful, man. Because you got if you don't go to fights, that's cool. Talk all the shit you want, but don't step out.
Well, for people,
I understand.
Well, just real quick, for people that didn't see what Southpaw is referring to, there's this YouTuber named the Record Checker. I think that's what they call him, because apparently he checks fighters' records, and he goes, "Oh, that's a suspect record." I'd never heard of him until this clip popped up earlier this week. But yeah, I think he's Dominican or something. That's what people were saying, that he's some sort of Dominican or whatever. But so he went up to Pacheco, and then he started asking questions to Pacheco, and then Pacheco said, "Hey, man, I don't really like what you do, man, because you spread false narratives of a fighter, blah, blah, blah." And then, like Southpaw said, one of Pacheco's entourage members got on the YouTuber's face, and he pushed him, and he sent the guy flying all the way back. And then Fight Hype, I think, they did an interview with the guy, and they were like, "I don't understand why Pacheco's team got angry with you. I mean, all you were doing was asking questions." Like, come on. that sounds like Howard Stern's type stuff.
Yeah.
They would ask these stupid questions, and then at the end
But you guys are professional. Like, you guys don't go at, but like when I hear guys like, I like ring IQ, don't get me wrong, but when he talks about Benavidez, bro, it's over the top. He's like, he's not good. He lost his last fight. He didn't want to fight Canelo. He's trash. Blah blah blah. He's fat. I'm like, bro, like chill, dude. Like, but it's a good thing they don't go to fights, man, because like they'll pull up, man. Like especially the Benavidez camp, and in. The guy who fought last night, he's part of that crew, man. Those guys don't fuck around, man. When I covered boxing, I've been around the Benavidez's and those dudes from Arizona and LA. They don't fuck around, man. Like they'll pull up on you, man. So like they're gonna learn the hard way. But I hear what you're saying with I want to move on to the Shakur, man. I hate how the Zone and Eddie he's like a rescue dog that Top Rank kicked out. And Eddie's always picking up these strays, bro. He's picking up these strays like Boo Boo, like Devin, like Shakur. Why do they? And this demographic is hard to sell, and it's the ugly truth. Like with black fighters, it's hard to sell because for some reason they don't get the backing like they used to. But unless they're like a Tank who does. But and the only reason because like people like knockouts. And he's got like the street connection. Those are the guys that like him. But with Shakur and them, like the styles are boring, and they have a gang mentality. They look like a bunch of little punks that you see at the mall that like they just want to jump somebody. They're the types that would jump somebody. You know, we've seen it. They've done it. I do like Keyshawn. You know, Keyshawn, and I like how that guy was talking shit. You know, calling him out. We got to have that. But it's weird because Bud is cut from a different cloth. Bud will go to fights by himself. He doesn't have an entourage. He'll pull up on people. Bud's a real dude. But then you got all these youngins that are all under him now, but they have a different mentality. They have a gang mentality. Mm-hmm. Bud never had that. Bud is just a guy helping out young guys. But these kids want to act like a gang, like the 3B. Shakur's such a annoying guy, and like they put him on the broadcast and he's not good on the mic. He's annoying. His face is annoying, and like even his mannerisms, the way the facial expressions he makes is cringe, bro. And he dresses like a teenage punk. He talks like one, and dude, he's not gonna sell, man. I don't know why they keep thrusting these guys on us, and this is what's hurting American boxing, man. They're a bunch of brats, man. I don't know, like it's so frustrating to see, but unfortunately he's gonna be around a long time because of his style. He's gonna last, you know. So he's already like he has brittle hands. He's moving up a weight. He's gonna even have less punching power. He's gonna run more. You know what I mean? So the jig is up, man. Like I just think of that, man. I can't stand this kid. Like thank God for the foreigners, man. That's all I gotta say. Thank God for the overseas. I gave up on American fighters, man, except for like Bam and Bud. But
I mean,
I don't know, man. It's gonna be an interesting year.
There's some hope. All right, well, listen, Southpaw, man, thank you for your call, and call back next time. Take it easy out there.
All right, guys.
All right, take it easy, man. Yeah, I just want to say something about that. Yeah, like, these guys are annoying, and there are YouTubers, like that Check the Record guy, you could tell he was annoying because he was feigning ignorance. However, I must say that we talk our fair amount of trash talk here, too. I mean, some of the stuff I've been saying about Bomac, but it's all in jest, more or less. But I do understand if people would take it seriously, but I don't think people should take it seriously. I mean, the amount of criticism that he's been thrown our way as well, we've taken our share of criticism, and I can only speak for myself, but you know, I've been called a whole bunch of things, and I take it in stride, water off a duck's back, because if you're going to give it, you better be prepared to take it. And a lot of these boxers, they got to take the good with the bad. You're going to get YouTubers like that who talk shit about you. And I don't think getting physical with them is the way to go. So Pacheco didn't do anything to the guy. It was his member of the entourage. But again, you got to, like Southpaw said, you got to understand that there's some guys out there that are a little crazy and they don't understand what I'm saying. They will get physical. So you got to be mindful of that. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 718. 718, you're on the air. 718, what's on your mind?
What's going on, man? It's Mike from New York. I actually know the guy. That's Jeremy from New York as well. He's Dominican, yes. But I think Pacheco confused them for a guy by the name of Southpaw. Not Southpaw TV. Not the guy that just called. There's another Ecuadorian dude from Chicago that does go hard and says a bunch of racist stuff online. And they kind of look alike. So I think he confused them for him. And that's practically what caused the whole thing. Because I believe he cleared up afterwards. So that guy, Jeremy, he does a lot. He's a content creator. He's been in LA for a while. He's actually a Golden Glove champion here from New York. So he's just not like a content creator. Like the dude has been flying out for amateur boxing and everything. But I think he just confused them, and that's where the miscommunication came in.
Well, thank you for that clarification.
Yeah. No. A lot of people don't know because you only see short clips, and when you go to his page on Instagram, he does kind of go over a lot of fighters' profile, and he is joking a lot, but it is true. You know, a lot of YouTubers, the whole landscape of the internet right now. A lot of people talk a lot of shit, and then just, you know, they're not willing to show face in person, because they will get punched in the face if they say the wrong thing to any of these boxers. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, I'm not really sure what to say about Shakur and how he's coming across, because honestly, I liked him the most out of everyone in 135 before, and now it's like, you know, I didn't really hear what he said about not taking risk, but you know, that puts a really sour taste in some fans' mouths when he says stuff like that, because that's not what we want to see. We you know, this, at the end of the day, yes, it is a sport, but it's entertainment, a business, and then it becomes a sport. And on top of what you said, I remember after the Ryan Haney fight, he did say something very similar. He said, "Nah, fuck the fans. You know, if I would have been like that, you know, I just would have run around the ring and grabbed them." Like, you know, the more time goes on, it's sounding like, you know, this kid is showing his true colors, and it's unfortunate because I really did like him.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, thank you for that clarification about that Jeremy guy. By the way, you said he flies all over the country. Well, he got sent flying by that Pacheco team member right there.
No. I said he used to when he was doing amateur boxing, he was fighting all over the world. So
right.
So it's not now he's just a content creator. So, you know,
right, well,
everybody doesn't go pro, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, shout out to him then. Hopefully his endeavors turn out well, and hopefully he prepares better when he goes up to these fighters, because you know, some of these, like you said, some of these entourage people, they're a little unhinged. So hopefully he stays safe out there. But shout out to you, Mike. Anything else you want to say?
No, man. That continue on going, and like hearing you out, like hearing you guys out.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your call, man, and take it easy out there. Call back next time. All right. That was Mike right there. I think, you know, he clarified a lot of things in regards to whatchamacallit, that little brouhaha that occurred. Let's go to another phone call. Let's go to 347. 347, you're on the air. 347, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up? It's NPR. How you guys doing?
Oh, NPR, man. What's up?
Good. I want to talk about some technique of Freddie Pacheco. That's the salsa guy. Diego Pacheco.
Uh-huh.
Sorry about that. That shows how old I am. I'm from New York, right? Shh, don't tell anybody. But what I want to talk about is that you could see that he was trying to work on the left check hook the whole night, and it was there early for him, and it was available to him. But the problem is his body isn't coordinating correctly. Now the way his primary mode of defense is leaping back, right? Getting out of the way, because he's a tall guy, so he's used to that. And so the only way for that punch to be effective is for him to engage in the pocket just a little bit more, just for those moments. And so he was catching him at moments with the check hook, but it was from too far away. And so he's not getting leverage on his foot to turn that punch over to be effective. So if you think about a guy like, for instance, who's another tall, Callum Smith. Callum Smith would be a perfect example, because Callum Smith is a tall guy. He was throwing his check hook from the correct distance because he was engaged in the pocket. And so I think it was Bucho earlier that said that Pacheco's not setting up his punches. Absolutely 100% correct. He's got to set his feet by not leaping back so far. He's got to take a chance on staying more engaged in a medium range distance, because you can't throw a hook from a far distance. So in other words, for that punch to be effective, the feet's got to turn over, and it's got to be from the right distance at the right time. So that's one thing. But the second thing is he's missing golden opportunities by leaping back so far, because what you want to do is you want to get the guy to come in, and like a pendulum stepper, like let's say Bivol would step back just to gauge at the correct distance. The other guy comes forward, and then he could throw the right hand. And he blew that. So those two shots, I think, would be his best best setup punches, given his style, given his height, and given his ability. We haven't seen him put it together in that kind of way. We know he can punch. We know he's got great height. He's got some of the great advantages of it. But I think until he shows that, and I think it'll come. I believe it'll come because, as I say, there's no doubt in my mind that his team was telling him to throw that left hook, but it wasn't quite there yet. The punch isn't quite turned over yet. Mm-hmm. So I believe that it'll come, and I believe that, as I say, there's no doubt that his team was telling him to do this and said, okay, this is how you beat this smaller guy. And I think it will be an effective punch for him, but only if the mechanics start coming from the ground up, from the feet up. And I saw some moments where he was turning his left with the check hook, and it's correct. It's the correct mechanics, but it wasn't efficient mechanics just yet. He's a tall guy. He's a lengthy guy, and it's harder to do that with long legs to get the leverage off of the floor, and especially going to be hard because of the distance. So that's my thoughts on that fight. And anyway, God bless the ESO. See you later, gentlemen.
All right, excellent points there, NPR. Thank you for your call, man. Call back next time. Always appreciate you calling in. And yeah, man, I mean, that's an excellent point there that he made. About, it's 6 feet 4 inches tall, Pacheco is. That's a lot of length and bone to move. I actually think he might have a little bit more upside than Callum Smith. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think he's a little bit more athletic than Callum Smith. Callum Smith always struck me as a little bit too slow to be able to get the job done. Although he did improve under Buddy McGirt. You saw what he started doing at light heavyweight, knocking guys out. But Pacheco, yeah, everything NPR said, I have to agree with. Pacheco was throwing that. You could tell that check left hook was there. I did think he connected at some points, but it was also, I got to give Nelson credit. He took some big shots and just kept coming forward and wasn't going anywhere. So I don't know how many people are going to be able to stand up to those counter shots from Pacheco. But the point is that he did. There's still a lot of work to be done with Pacheco, and I'm not jumping the gun with him. He's 23 years old. He's still got a lot of work to do. I'm not convinced that he beats Berlanga even, or even Munguia. I mean, you never know. Maybe, I don't know how well Pacheco takes a punch. And let's not forget that the early rounds, like Bucho was saying too, were quite uneventful from Pacheco. So a lot of work to do, but I like some of what I saw. That's the other thing. Southpaw was talking about how the Benavides are from Arizona. Interestingly enough, they're now fighting out of the Pacific Northwest. I think they're in the Washington area. I don't know if they're living in Seattle or whatever, but they're over there. And Pacheco's over there too. And they kept referencing during the telecast that Pacheco is a homebody. He's a bit of an introvert. He doesn't really enjoy going out. And I said, that's great if you're going to be a boxer. It's all about the business and family for him. And that type of discipline and lifestyle. Some people go overboard with the monk lifestyle or the hermit life. I got to go to camp. And they go up in the woods or in a mountain somewhere. It's like, you don't really need to do that. As long as you stay disciplined, you're not going out drinking and all that stuff, or, that's so. We'll see what happens with Pacheco. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit that like. Really helps out. The phone lines are open, so make sure to call in. Phone number right there in the left and middle portion of your screen. What else was I going to say about this? All right, so moving on to heavyweight business. As you know, they've talked about the, oh yes, Daniel Dubois taking on Joseph Parker. That fight taking place on February the 22nd on the undercard of, obviously, Beterbiev Bivol, the rematch. I'm starting to get a little interested in this fight, and not just because of what we're about to show you, but also because the stylistic matchup. There's a lot of questions here. So first, let's take a look at a clip here from the face-off. You'll notice that these two guys are massive minds, very vocal, very vociferous, and quite articulate when it comes to voicing their diatribes towards their opponent. Check this out.
I'm going to go into this fight. I'm going to be too smart. too fast. Movement's going to be on point. I'm going to be deliberate, precise. I'm going to be aggressive. That's it.
Cut it. That's enough.
I'm going to bash you
acting.
up.
Enough acting, mate.
Who's acting?
Shut up.
Who's acting?
Shut up.
You shut
acting.
your face.
You shut up.
You shut your face.
Shut your mouth, man.
Is that
You're
all you can
talking
say?
shit.
Shut your face. Shut your mouth.
Talking
Talking
Yeah.
How? That's what I'm going to do to you.
I'm ready to fight, you know, by any means necessary.
Hey, that's
they culminate that by
the kindergarten kids, huh?
No, you shut up. No, you shut up.
No, you shut up.
Oh man. All right, by now on to the serious
I remember
business.
when I was in the first grade.
You used to do that too, huh? I used to do that too. Or sticking your tongue out at people, or putting your hands over your ears and going la 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 la. Yeah, man, that's what the only thing missing in this.
This is pretty retarded. Okay, this is pretty stupid. But
oh man,
yeah, I don't know what the hell that didn't go the way the zone wanted it to go. I think.
No, I think it went exactly the way they wanted to. But I'll tell you what, though, listening to Dubois sitting there with that smile on his face, that goofy smile, that's actually scary because now after the Joshua and Hrgovic fights, that this dude, he's like one of those giants. Like psychologists always say that if a baby was 200 pounds, he would crush her to death. I think that's what Dubois is now. He's a dangerous guy now. It might be goofy, but he can actually crush. So what do you guys think about that Dubois fight? Are we going to see an upset like some people are saying, or?
Well, I mean, an upset. What are the odds in this fight, for this fight? Who's the underdog?
Let me check.
The favorite. I haven't checked the odds, but in my opinion, it's a 50-50 fight. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Dubois. Dubois, that confidence that he brings now, I think is going to help him. He was never really a bad boxer, but I think, and I'm not the only one. A lot of us question his mental strength.
Mm-hmm.
How he basically almost quit against Joe Joyce. Maybe also against Lomachenko, how he started to just fade. Didn't feel as comfortable, although of course he was losing the fight, but again, the mentality was in question. Now, because of the winning streak that he has going on, I think he's stronger mentally.
You mentioned something interesting about the Usyk fight earlier, off the air. Because Parker's one of his advantages is hand speed. Excuse me, Usyk. Excuse me. You should.
No, I said Lomachenko. I keep saying I don't know, guys. I every time I'm referencing Usyk, I say Lomachenko. I don't know why.
That Dubois Parker exchange rubbed off on you. You're starting to lose IQ points. No, but you off the air. Off the air, because off the air you were talking about how Parker's speed, and then you mentioned how Dubois fought a guy like Usyk. And what did you say about that?
About Dubois and Usyk?
Yeah, the preparation that might lead to the Parker fight.
I said that he was doing a great work in that fight. Of course, he was getting outboxed by Usyk, but I just felt like mentally he started to weaken.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because I was mentioning how a lot of us questioned Dubois' mental strength, but I think now that has changed because of the winning streak that Dubois has right now.
Handful Boxing says Dubois is the real life Black Homer Simpson. Come on. Okay, the reason why I brought up what you said about the Usyk fight is because Parker does have hand speed and foot speed too. Very good reflexes, even at his age. And even though he's been through the ring, or with the Dylan White fight, getting stopped by Joe Joyce, in the Zhang fight he did get dropped twice, so that couldn't have been good for the noggin. However, he does have advantages, like I said, hand, foot speed still. And so some people are saying, well, Dubois might not be able to handle that, or it might be tricky for him. But like you said,
And I said he fought Usyk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is Dubois really going to be surprised by Joseph Parker's speed when he went a couple of rounds against Usyk? No.
And I also
will be surprised.
Also, another thing about that is that Joseph Parker is not, he's a quick guy, but he's got the label of being boring. And he got that label because he's very reserved when it comes to his offense. I mean, we saw what happened against Joshua. We saw what happened against Zhang. He's a guy that's not really willing to go all in for it. Whereas Usyk, even though they're about the same height, or Parker is a little bit taller, Usyk will stand in front of these big guys. And he was backing Dubois up after that low blow. Parker isn't that type of fighter. Parker fights with the lead hand down, a little bit like Roy Jones, and that prevents him rather from backing guys up because you can't. It's very difficult to back guys up, especially big punchers, when you get your fucking hands down. And that's what happens with Joseph Parker. So the odds are, according to oddschecker.com here, 2-1 or thereabouts for Daniel Dubois. So the odds makers are looking at this as a close fight. Gonzalo, what do you think?
It's still 2-1 favorite.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, again, Dubois coming off some great victories here. I mean, he has Hrgovic. He has a win against AJ. Am I missing another one?
Well, I mean, well, before we get to that, I mean, Gonzalo's back. Gonzalo, what do you think about this fight?
I'm here.
What do you think about the Parker Dubois?
Okay. Yeah. Parker, I don't know, he's like a gatekeeper to me, but since the division is so weak right now, he's kind of ranking up there among the 3 or 4 top heavyweights. He's not necessarily old, but he's not necessarily young anymore. I don't know how old he is for a heavyweight, maybe 30. Because last I heard of him, he was 27, but I know it's been a few years, so he's probably 30. He's lost
33.
some. He used to have a good chin, probably still has a decent chin, but it's been cracked before he's been dropped. Dubois a big puncher. It's kind of hard to tell because that guy's got Asperger's or something. You know, when he's on, and when he's not, he'll do some weird shit like he did against Usyk where he bent the knee. So I don't know. I would probably say it's a 50 fight, just like Bucho mentioned, slightly edging Dubois as well because he's on the rise. And aside from the Usyk loss, I mean, compared to Parker's record, he's taken a couple L's, but you know, he's not old. He's still in the mix. Yeah, it's a 50-50 fight. I can't quite say, BD.
Interesting.
In the chat, Green Reaper says, boxing is funny. Joe Joyce beat them both, and now Joyce isn't even in the picture. That is true.
Yeah, man.
He lost to Chisora. Can you guys believe that?
Yeah, I still can't believe that. I forgot that fight even happened. That's how unbelievable the result was. In regards to what you guys were saying about that fight, yeah, first of all, I've heard other people say that. I go in the comment section, I go on message boards and all that, and I've heard other people, boxing fans, saying, yeah, this could be a tricky fight for Dubois. One thing that I found interesting about, what's his name? Parker, during the face-off, I didn't watch it all. I sort of skipped over certain parts, but I don't think he brought up the fact that Dubois quit twice. I think that could potentially have been something he could have mentioned to him. Like I said, because both guys lost against Joyce, but Parker got laid out, whereas Dubois, who was actually doing quite well, took the knee like he did against Usyk and just said no mas. So I don't know. I don't think Parker's going to do that. But yeah, it's interesting. Parker's coming off a good streak since that Joyce loss. He's got a win over Wilder, a win over Zhang. And if he beats Dubois, could be positioning himself as the next best heavyweight if Usyk retires. Same Fury and Joshua, right back to the same equation from about 5-6 years ago. So that's interesting. By the way, Eddie Hearn was doing the rounds, media rounds, because of the Pacheco fight. He says they're still working on Joshua Wilder. What do you guys think about that fight? Joshua Wilder.
Yeah, a bit too late, obviously. There's I think I talked about this with some people on the Open Lines Friday show. I'm not interested in that fight. Would I watch it if it happens? Yes. But I think it lost whatever interest he had a few years ago. A lot. I'm not interested in this fight, to be honest.
Well, Gonzalo, what do you think?
Yeah, maybe for the diehard, quote unquote, hardcore boxing fans, maybe it doesn't have that much meaning. But we live in an age of the YouTubers and stuff like that. So maybe since they got a name and they crossed over where a lot of people have heard their names, it will sell, and it's still an interesting fight. Maybe obviously not to determine who the best of the best is, but it would kind of be fun to see. Those two guys see who gets knocked out.
How would it be? How sad would it be if that fight ends up being an undercard fight?
Oh, that
No,
would
it
be
wouldn't be an
sad.
undercard. Yeah.
I mean, taking consideration how apparently that they could have been paid $100 million.
Jeez, Luis.
What was that?
Well, I
Something
think
like
it was
that, some
spread
crazy
out. I
amount,
think it
don't
was a
remember.
$100 million deal spread out across.
Yeah, spread.
So I think.
Whatever. Still, $100 million split. Nah, that was a lot of money. That a lost opportunity for both of them.
Well, they still made money either way, but and they could still make some good money based on this fight. I gotta reiterate that when Steve Kim did one of his columns about 2 weeks ago, I think I want to say, he'd asked the people on Twitter what are some of the top fights you want to see in 2025. Well, wouldn't you know it, the Joshua Wilder fight's still up there. A lot of people still want to see that fight, unfinished business, as it were. So that's a fight that could get made, and it would have to get made, like in the UK. Like Butch was saying in the chat, because
Wilder is fighting. Remember, guys, I forgot the date though. He's fighting some guy.
Yeah, the guy that walked out of the ring against the Jaguar.
Oh yeah, the guy who walked out of the ring against the Jaguar. That's who Wilder is fighting.
Harper something. I think his last name is Harper.
Yes. So
well, if Wilder still has a little something,
if Wilder knocks this guy out, he's gonna be back in the eyes of some people. They're gonna be replaying that knockout. And maybe he will be able to help sell that AJ fight. He's fighting Curtis Harper.
Well, I gotta tell you, if Wilder still has that
Prime or BLK Prime, I don't know.
If Wilder still has that big right hand working, Harper's gonna be seeing angels playing the harp around his head like in the cartoons. Because I mean, that's the only thing Wilder has left, man. That right hand. He needs to get past Harper to get this Joshua fight. Otherwise, that check goes out the window.
Oh no, yeah, the window.
Hey, by the way, moving on to other stuff here real quick. By the way, the phone lines are still open. We're still going to be here for another 25 minutes, thereabouts, 24 minutes. So make sure to call in, get your questions or get your thoughts, rather. Give your comments on everything that's been going on in boxing. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you've yet to do so already. I wanted to talk about the Inoue. So Inoue fought this past Thursday, or Friday rather. I didn't get up to watch that fight. I couldn't be bothered to watch that mismatch, and a mismatch it was against some Korean guy. But now Eddie Hearn is really batting the drums of war, saying, Inoue is dunking MJ. Inoue is dunking MJ. I've said it before. MJ would have gotten his chance at Inoue had he not lost to the Palace back in 2023. He dropped the ball. He's been on a winning streak ever since then, but I mean, that fight, I don't know what's the deal. You know me, I don't follow the sanctioning bodies, but I don't know what the situation is with Inoue, which belt he has to defend first, whatever. I sincerely doubt that he's docking MJ Akhmadaliev, the same guy that lost to the Palace. Now, I'm not saying, well, Inoue beat the Palace beat MJ, therefore Inoue. I'm not doing the boxing math, but what I'm saying is that I doubt that Inoue is scared of MJ, because MJ hasn't looked invincible in the last couple of years. He never really looked all that invincible. I mean, he went the distance against Daniel Roman. That was a very tough fight. Now, granted, MJ only had about 4 professional fights. He's been fast-tracked a lot. So I really like MJ as a fighter. I like watching him fight, but Eddie Hearn saying that Inoue is scared of MJ, I can't buy that. And then, obviously, the usual suspects on the internet coming out and saying some weird stuff about Inoue. Like, for example, this dude, Joseph Palmieri. I bet this dude, talk about Inoue, on pets. That's why he never won a fight in the US, and he's never been tested neither. First of all, he has been tested. That was the whole controversy leading up to the Fulton fight where Inoue said, wow, I'm getting tested a lot. And second of all, Inoue has fought in the United States. So again, these people, I don't know if they're trolling. I don't know if they're on the same drugs that Dubois on, allegedly, by the way. But yeah, they just like to talk out loud sometimes. The other stuff about that, you guys mentioned Ajagba. There's a card that's been announced. Ryan Garcia taking on Rolly Romero, Devin Haney taking on Jose Ramirez, and Efe Ajagba taking on Mart Bakoli in an all-out intercontinental African war. Guys, what do you think about that Ajagba versus Bakoli fight?
All Africa, Mother Africa fight. I mean, that's a great fight. Both guys are tough. Both guys are strong as hell. I don't know who to pick, but it's a great fight. The card is not that bad. My only issue is that it's a pay-per-view. it shouldn't be a pay-per-view. I don't know what you guys think in the chat.
I agree with you. People were complaining that, how come when Tank Davis fights Rolly, that's a bad fight, but when Ryan Garcia fights him, all of a sudden it's a decent fight? Well, no one's saying Ryan Garcia is the best fighter in the world. See, for a guy like Tank Davis, who's supposed to be the face of boxing, top pound-for-pound guy, blah, 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 for him to be fighting a prospect like Romero, that's unacceptable. Ryan Garcia is an Instagram model. He's a C-list fighter. That's what people say. He's an Instagram model. So for him to be fighting Romero, that's right up his alley. I got no problem with that. But like you said, pay-per-view, yeah, like Bernard is saying in the chat, that better be $10. What do you guys think? How do you think that one goes? Ryan Garcia, Romero?
Ryan Garcia, Romero. Ryan by knockout.
Ryan.
For sure. Yeah, Ryan knocks him out easily. Easy.
I mean, little Isaac Cruz stopped this guy, right?
I don't know about easy, though. I don't know about easy. I mean, Romero did get to...
Easy.
He stunned Tank Davis. Remember that? Tank Davis lunged forward for a takedown, got sent to his knees, but they didn't call it a knockdown because of all the theatrics beforehand. But he did get stunned. So Romero, if he's still a strong guy, this ain't Devin Haney that he doesn't know how to use his strength. He will be lunging forward with shots. So, like you said, yeah, he could get caught, but until he does so, I think it's going to be tricky for Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia,
right. I mean, I don't think Ryan shouldn't just go out there wailing like a maniac or something like that. He has to find the opportunity to throw a left hook, something like that. But at the end of the day, he's going to be knocking him out.
Gonzalo? Oh, well, Gonzalo, you already said knockout, right? I will say, man, I think Ryan Garcia, I don't trust the guy. I do think some of his skills are underrated. I think people fell into the trap that Devin Haney did when they said, he hasn't improved since he was an amateur. I mean, we saw the improvements, better pressure fighting, a good control of the range and all that. But the thing that worries me about Ryan Garcia is that he does have technical deficiencies, and he says he didn't train for the Tank Davis fight. Okay, could be just him making excuses in his mind. But then turns out he wasn't really training properly for the Devin Haney fight either. Hence the Austrian. So I don't know. You know, this guy always talks a big game leading up to a fight, but then he shows up out of shape or shaky or complaining after the loss. Oh, my trainer wasn't there for me, and you know my promoters weren't there for me at the press conference. I mean, come on. He's a bit of a crybaby. I've said it before. People fell in love with him because of what he did to Devin Haney, but I think both guys are pieces of trash. And this isn't me being, I want to stay on the fence with both guys. I'm calling it like it is. I dislike both guys. Haney a little bit more because of his father and all that goes with that. But Ryan Garcia is a bit of a distasteful character and an unhinged character as well. What do you guys think? Can we really expect Ryan Garcia to show up in shape for this Romero fight?
I mean, I really hope Garcia doesn't take Rolly Romero lightly because, of course, he could be he's a bit dangerous, like BDA mentioned. Go watch the Tank Davis fight, the early rounds. But I mean, Ryan obviously should know not only that Rolly's could be he's a dangerous opponent, but also that, you know, there's this fight against Haney that's supposed to take place in October. Mm-hmm. He shouldn't lose sight of that. It's not happening yet. He has to get through this guy.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if he fucks it up, he fucks up a lot of money, you know?
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, true, man.
I mean, no, it wouldn't
really.
be.
I hope Ryan wins this fight. I hope Haney looks great because I don't want any excuses for when they both fight in October. I really hope they both go into that fight with impressive victories.
But now think about this, guys. He was the underdog against Devin Haney and Tank Davis, and he said he didn't train properly. He wasn't leading the right lifestyle. Now he's the favorite going in is Rolly Romero. Is it going to be worse in terms of training, or is it going to be better? Because maybe he's taking it seriously now. What do you guys think? What if we had to speculate? Gonzalo, what do you think?
I never know with Ryan Garcia what he's doing. He's very unpredictable. Actually, you know, if he's unlikable to many people because of his theatrics, the unpredictability part is which might keep people sort of interested and to see what he's gonna do next. But with that being said, you just never know. So that might be his most endearing quality. Well, a better word.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like boxing does need its share of unhinged characters. I will say that unbalanced people, but I don't know, as it pertains to winning fights, might not actually be the best formula. So we'll see what happens with that. As it pertains to the
PDA, this is what I'm saying. Basically, like you never know, like leading up to the fight, if he's gonna cancel the fight, if there's gonna be a promotional issue,
right?
Is he gonna see like he gets into some baby drama, BS, something? You just never know. It gets tiring, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
I got you, man. I got you. Again, like I said, I'm a little bit on the fence as it relates to his actual ability and discipline outside the ring. The other thing, speaking of discipline, we were talking about Inoue being accused by some Americans of being on PEDs. Well, America has its own share of problems when it comes to PEDs. We're on one of the channels that's been wondering why Victor Conte is allowed to be in boxing. Thunderdome's another guy that's been questioning that. But people forget Memo Heredia is another guy. Why is he still allowed in boxing? And he's working with David Benavides for the Morel fight coming up next Saturday, by the way. And this is what Memo had to say. Okay, because Conte came out on Twitter. He's always defending Haney. He says, I just got the results from Haney's 365-day year-round testing, random testing, and he tested clean. More fighters should be doing the same. He said something like that. And then people were saying, well, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you're associated with that and all that. And somebody said, hey, Conte, could you give me some of your special undetectable PEDs? And Conte's like, you're lucky I don't block you. So he's going back and forth with people on Twitter. And then Memo had this to say. Memo, who is Conte's one-time partner, or once upon a time was his partner, now his enemy, he had this to say. He said, after 2 weeks without testing again, VADA testing shows up today. What a mediocre and horrendous testing protocol. Why so incompetent? Are they corrupted? I know many things about VADA that I will share soon. All facts and no opinions. So he's casting aspersions on VADA saying, oh yeah, it's random, but they test you once and then they wait 2-3 weeks. I'm thinking, is that gap enough for some of these gurus like Memo Heredia and Conte to concoct some sort of PD that could give them benefits and then disappear 3 weeks when the next testing comes? What do you guys think? Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think he's right on the money. I still think he shouldn't be involved in boxing. Neither him or Conte. No other sport will have him. Boxing, the only... Conte referred to boxing as the red light district of sports. That's why he gravitated... it's like the dark part under the fridge where all the cockroaches go to. That's the thing that he's been there. Okay, some random says Victor Conte has been kicked out of 109 sports. I don't know, that number sounds like he's talking about something else, possibly some religious ethnic group out there. But yeah, it's highly suspicious that he's still in those sports. Sean Cedo, the journalist, the boxing journalist, or so-called boxing journalist, was quick to cast aspersions on Inoue prior to the Fulton fight, but I've never heard him cast aspersions on Victor Conte and Memo Heredia. Maybe because doing so will lose him access from some of these fighters. I don't know, but I'm calling these guys out. These so-called PD gurus. I don't know why they're in the sport. I don't think they should be. Yeah, they paid their debt to society, but their specialty was to concoct this clandestine PEDs, undetectable PEDs, and they themselves say that the boxing testing is a joke. So the question is, if they're still giving these new PEDs that people don't even know exist and they're undetectable, how would the testers know? How would they catch it? If it's a joke, even these guys are saying it's a joke. And I also want to add something else. Both Victor Conte and Memo Heredia have admitted that they enjoyed getting away with it when they were fooling the Olympic testing committees, which are supposed to be top-notch. They were getting away with it. They were getting their athletes were getting tested 60 times across different months, and they never tested positive once. Now they come to boxing where they're admitting it's a joke. You don't think that they're getting their jollies off, coming across as the good guys, the reformed good guys, but meanwhile they're back to their old same tactics, like what Soothsayer calls duper's delight. I don't trust these guys. Again, I can't say that they're guilty because I don't have any proof. But to be safe, I don't think these guys should be working in a sport where, like I said, the testing is a joke. Or they even admit it's a joke. I can't believe that these guys are still in the sport.
No, you should make a special video about this.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, well, maybe not because we have a lot of interesting fights coming up, I think.
Well, I said maybe
I
because
saw somewhere in a Mexican channel that Memo Heredia had some problems with Jose Benavides Sr. Yeah, they got into it. They were talking shit on each other.
Interesting.
Yeah, one time we were supposed to get him on the show a long time ago. I don't know what happened, but then couldn't get him on. Then like later, I got a hold of him, and he texted me back a few times. Hey, so what time you want to do it? But by that time, Bucho had said, "Nah, it's like whatever, fuck this guy. Like if you don't want to like show up." But he was going to.
I don't think Bucho ever said that.
Maybe I don't remember.
You told me on the personal on the DMs.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, if he doesn't want to show up, doesn't want to show up. I mean.
Yeah, we
and
can
then
force
later I
people
didn't
to
want to text him back because it's like fuck it, whatever.
Well, I mean, now at this point, why would I have him back? I mean, if we're gonna ask him some questions about his character and all that, I don't think he'd want to show up. But the point is that look, I don't know, I was thinking about this the other day. Memo Heredia and Victor Conte, they're known entities now. Who are some of the other guys that we might not even know about? Some of these dark magicians that are behind the scenes, giving guys PEDs. They might be some top-notch guys that nobody's ever heard of before. They might be in Germany, might be in the US, who knows? But we certainly don't know about it because, again, no reporter wants to ask these questions. No promoter wants to address this because why would they? Why put a kibosh on some of these potential fights? They turn the other way and they close their eyes and cover their ears and they clog their noses. We don't want to know about this. So it's a sad state of affairs. By the way, this brings me back to the Haney-Garcia thing. Bill Haney keeps going, well, do the testing, Ryan, do the testing. When are you going to do the testing? Look, why not no testing? That way we can know both guys are going to be taking whatever they want. The reason why Bill Haney wants testing is because, this is my theory, he knows he's got a guy that could circumvent those tests, whereas Ryan Garcia probably doesn't because he already got caught once. Because if he really was about that life, they would say no testing. They do it on the honor system or you could be taking stuff, whatever. But the reason why he wants the testing is because he wants to make it appear that they're the good guys, that they're on the level. But I sincerely doubt that they are, especially when his fighter is rehydrating up to 25 pounds between the weigh-in and fight night. I mean, that is insane. I don't know how you can do that without some sort of, dare I say it, circumventing the rules or whatever, you know what I mean? So, yeah, do it no rules. And actually put in the contract that say, hey, we can both take whatever we want. But of course, they're not going to do that because, again, they want to keep their clean image, which we all know probably isn't all that clean. Butcher, you got anything else, man? Because I think I'm about done with this news. I'm trying to figure out.
Guys, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the show. Hit the like. And not really. I don't have that much here.
Okay. Another fight that's going to be.
We'll actually, if there's more news, but we'll talk about it on the second channel. Go subscribe. Link in the description.
Did we already? Because I wanted to mention Stanonis, Enis. It's been announced.
Stanonis, Enis. Yeah, you can talk about it. When is that fight happening again?
April, I think they said, or May.
May the 18th. No, that's not the right fight. April the 12th.
April the 12th. All right, might as well be May. But yeah, man, okay, that fight, my preliminary thoughts on that fight is that Stanonis is a strong guy. He's got a good overhand right, but that's pretty much all he's got in terms of overhand rights. If you watch his fight against Maestre, or whatever his name was, the last guy he fought, I can cut Stanonis some slack because he hadn't fought in over 2 years or thereabouts. And he was fighting a guy who's well-conditioned, pulled off a couple of upsets in his time, and an Olympian, former Olympian. However, if you watch that fight, you will conclude that Stanonis lacks a good left hook. He slaps with that left hook. And I'm thinking, if you're going to, Enis' stock dropped after the current rematch. However, he can crack with both hands. Stanonis can't. And if you're going to get into a firefight, which I expect, you better bring both guns, both barrels loaded. That's not something Stanonis has. He slaps with that left hook. And he doesn't really even go to the body that much. So I like his defense, though. It's a tight guard. But against a guy like Enis, who has power and speed, just standing in front of him with that guard might actually be the wrong approach. It's a good guard against everybody else, just might not work against Enis. So I'm giving Enis the edge. It's a good fight. I wish it would have happened when Stanonis was a little bit more active. But hey, this is the fight we got. Beggars can't be choosers. And I'm interested in that fight. What do you guys think, Gonzalo, Bucho?
Well, but
Yeah,
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight. I watched Maestre versus Stanonis because I hadn't watched Stanonis like in 2 years. What I saw that's good but negative at the same time, Stanonis likes to trade, which is a good thing, which will provide for an entertaining fight. But then, he'll be like, his approach is I'll throw first, then he'll catch some punches in return and so forth. He gets into those back and forths. And like you mentioned, the right hand is slapping, I believe it's the right hand.
The
or is
left.
it the lead hand?
I think the left hook, yeah, he slaps with it.
With the left hook. So I would say that Enis, he gets caught with punches too, so that's why it's an entertaining fight. But like you said, he punches harder with both hands. And I'm not saying that Stanonis don't have power, but in that give and trade type of fight, they're both going to get hit. And I just think, it's probably true that, he's the bigger guy, Enis is. So he'll win that fight, kind of take him out like he did against that Ecuadorian guy. Can't recall his name. He's a tough fighter who hits hard too. But Stanonis good fighter, but no, entertaining fight for sure.
Yeah,
but
that's why
I think Enis wins.
That's why when people look at Stanonis, they go, well, why couldn't he stop Maestre or Dulorme, whereas Virgil Ortiz and Enis did? How come he can't do it? Punching technique. We've said it before. Punching power does involve skill. When people think skills, they think about running around the ring, one shot at a time, clinching, shaking their asses. Now, punching, coming forward, creating the fight, that takes skill. And Ortiz and Enis, check out when they punch. They turn their punch over. They create an L arc with their arms. They lift the elbow. Stanonis doesn't do that. So he'll outwork guys. He'll push him back. He's strong. But when it comes to punching power, he fails to rival Enis' power. So I think that's going to be a big difference. Power does play a difference, and I think it will in this one. But I tell you what, though, Enis better come in prepared because Stanonis does have a good engine. He's a strong guy. He will push you back. And this isn't the type of fight where you can show up and then afterwards say, oh, well, my hand hurt, my wrist. No, if you're not 100%, this guy's going to give it to you. So it will behoove Enis to show up in shape and actually do try to make a statement. Again, people are giving him crap about all these guys that he avoided. Enis did. He didn't have a good 2024 or a latter part of 2024. Came out that he avoided a bunch of guys. He didn't look great against Karen. Too hittable. Getting his head snapped all over the place. But if he's able to stop Stanonis, he's right back in the boxing fans' good graces. So this is a fight that really, it's a redemption fight for him. And we'll see what happens with that. The other thing is, fellas, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you yet to do so already. Next Saturday, we've got a good card, although unfortunately it's pay-per-view, so it's up to you whether you want to buy it. It's a decent card. We got by the way, Mirko Cuello, the guy that we've mentioned before, the Argentinian guy. Good, solid puncher from Argentina, undefeated. He's young. He's in his early 20s. Heck of a left hook to the body. He's going to be fighting on that card. So check him out. Other than that, Ramos versus Rosario, Isaac Cruz versus Fierro, those are so-so fights. Figueroa versus Stephen Fulton, a lot of people are looking forward to that one, but Fulton looked horrible in his last fight. It's a rematch at a higher weight class. Figueroa, I think he only fought once maybe last year, maybe twice, I don't know. So both guys only fought once last year, so they're still going to be pretty rusty. And by the way, Butcher, did you did you see that commercial that they were doing on Twitter for the PBC? The whole Mexico thing.
Oh yeah, the Mexican.
You want to talk about that a little
in
bit?
the background and Mexican music.
Yeah, you want
They're
to
trying really hard to sell this fight, this card to Mexicans.
Well, what I wanted you to say was that the whole the way they were portraying it for people that didn't see the video.
I don't remember exactly what did they say. What was it?
Well, they show these highlights of Cruz and Ramos, boom, boom, fighting guys, and boom, they get the boom sound effect, and they show the Mexican flags, they show the Mexican fans in the.
Was there a narration going on? I think it was.
We should show it, man, but I don't even know how to find it. But yeah, they were really trying to play out the angles, like, hey, Mexicans, come buy this fight. Also, Benavides, he's been calling himself the Mexican monster. So since he's in the main event, they're trying to really play this Mexican angle hard, and I don't know how many Mexicans are gonna pay this for this fight. It's on the PBC. The PBC, listen, whether you like it or not, we're not going to get into it, but the PBC's brand has a bad reputation to it now, especially for the price. It's going to be $80-something here in Canada. I don't think it's available on Amazon. They haven't been available on Amazon Prime. I think we got to buy it on payperview.com, which, yeah, they saddle you with extra $15 service fees. Now, I don't know what the hell these service fees are about. I don't even know what that means.
Plus
it sounds
tax, plus federal, provincial tax, 15% on top of everything at the end. It's just
it's like when you go to the store and they got a whole bunch of discounts, but when you're gonna pay at the cashier, they got the soda for $3.50, the candy bars, like all this extra shit that's probably like $6, like twice the price of the shit you bought.
Exactly, man. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I we pay for the fights most of the time because, I mean, it's a boxing channel, and your contributions, your generous contributions help us get to that. But as the general consumer, are they really going to be able to or willing to buy this fight when some of these fights aren't that appetizing? And especially the main event. Look, Benavides versus Morel. Morel's a prospect. Yeah, he's a little bit better than a prospect because he because of his pedigree and all that, but he's still a prospect. So I don't know how many people are actually going to buy this. I foresee. I'm not like Jimmy, who could always foresee the pay-per-view buys. He always got them on the money or thereabouts. I'm thinking 200,000 pay-per-view buys. I do not think.
I'm thinking less.
Whoa. Yeah, there's not that many Cubans out there.
150, under 200.
By the way, Cuban fight fans, they're a minority compared to other. There's 100 million Mexicans, there's 300 million Americans, even Puerto Ricans. I think there's more.
Very vociferous online, though.
Very vociferous, very vocal. They tend to be very terse with their words. I mean, they're very direct. Whenever you point out something bad about their fighter, they go, nah. Like, for example, I check out BDA clips. I did a video about Morel, questioning why some of his skills or flaws. Because again, he's not a very developed fighter. He only has about 11 fights. It stands to reason that he's a limited fighter. So I pointed out some of those limitations. And Cuban fans, well, what about Benavides' flaws? Like, okay, just because I didn't mention him I can't mention everything in a video, otherwise it's going to be 20 minutes. This is what specifically the title said. This is a video about Morel. They can't handle it. Same thing with Rigondeaux. When I was doing videos about Rigondeaux Lomachenko back in 2017, Rigondeaux was going to school Lomachenko. It's like, really? School Lomachenko? It's like, you can't keep it 50-50 or anything. They got to go overboard. And I hate to say it, but our Cuban brethren, because they are, Hispanic, so if you want to call them brethren or cousins, whatever, they really got to dial down their expectations about some of these Cuban fights. I mean, how many times have we seen these undefeated Cubans come out of the amateurs with gold medals and world championships up the wazoo, and then they show up and they don't deliver in the professional rank? So, I don't know. It seems like some of these Cuban fight fans, they don't learn. They're infatuated with their...
I mean, we're not saying he doesn't have a chance.
Exactly.
But, taking into consideration... I mean, looking at what Morel has done so far, the amount of fights he has, we just don't think it's enough to beat Benavides.
Yeah, like they go, well, Benavides didn't look great against Vosik. Okay, he looked great against Andre. He looked good against Plant in the last 6 rounds. He looked good against, the rematch against Gavril, beat him up. What's his name? Kelvin Davis, or whatever his name is, who upset Elijah Garcia afterwards. I mean, when has Morel looked good against fighters of that caliber? I know Benavides is a little bit overrated too. We've said that before, but at least he's looked good against solid opposition. When has Morel looked good against that type of opposition?
Right.
So, hey, by the way, shout out to Gonzalo, because we recorded a lot of content. So we're going to be dropping some of those videos on BDA Clips and on Patreon. So shout out to Gonzalo for joining us on those videos. Stay tuned for those. Some of them are about Morel, Benavides, and then there's videos about other subjects. We'll leave it a surprise.
Subscribe to the second channel. Subscribe to BDA Clips. That's our second channel. Yes, we have another one.
That is right.
I'm going to be posting the link in the chat.
That's right. That's right. And so, yeah, check that out. Don't forget to check out Patreon for free, although you can donate as little as you want. But it's always better if you sign up, even if it's free. That way we can see who's there. And it gives us a chance to work with the analytics, see what people like, see what people dislike. And like Bucho said, check out BDA Clips, our secondary channel. That's where we're posting extra content that we don't post over here. And that's about it. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you yet to do so already.
I sent you the trailer. I don't know if you can show it. Or...
Oh, okay, I gotta play that. Let me just download it first.
Yeah, on Slack and on Discord.
Okay, let me download it first because I can't play it from...
you guys gotta watch this PBC trailer promoting the Benavides Morel.
I mean, from a business standpoint, it's good because they have to get somebody to buy this fight, but it just shows how they're in dire straits when it comes to the hold on. What is this? Okay, hold on. All right.
Como el hombre de la casa no tenía, llegó un momento, un punto donde no tenía que ofrecerles tan siquiera una tortilla, ¿no? Si yo les hago falta a mis hijos, ¿quién los va a ver, no?
You ready to give the fans the fight of the year?
How much you want to bet that never happened?
the family, man.
La familia.
Oh, la
familia,
raza, man.
La familia.
Por la raza.
Por la raza es el 3 puntos.
I'm going all in. Just going to leave it on the ring.
You know, I'm Mexican and I'm a monster, and that's the way I fight. I have the will and the determination to show everybody I'm the best in the world.
I mean, and then when they do get Mexican fighters, the PBC, they screw them over. Like, ask Jesus Ramos.
Sacrificial victims.
Yeah, ask Jesus Ramos, Leo Santa Cruz.
They move him up in weight. It's just embarrassing.
Oh, man, that was it.
Yeah, no.
What the hell was that, man?
The family.
La familia es el cartel. No, but, yes. All right. So that's all we got for today, fellas. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Shout out to everybody that called in, everybody donated via the Buy Me a Coffee, and of course, all of you guys who tuned in. Hey, by the way, real quick, Bucho, you saw the BKFC thing yesterday. I only started watching it because it was free on the zone and because you told me, hey, you guys got to watch it. What did you think of that?
I only caught the end of the the co-main event, and then I watched the main event. But it was entertaining. Actually, they were letting their hands go. I just got a huge UFC vibe out of that, UFC / WWE type of vibe. I don't know what to say. It's not boxing, that's for sure. It's closer to the UFC.
Do you think it stands to reason that they're doing this type of UFC style promotion and theatrics because a lot of the guys on that roster are former UFC fighters?
Right. I think from what I understand, people probably know more than me. I think they are a lot of these guys they're coming from the MMA. They're fighters that are no longer fighting in the MMA, and then they got into these bare knuckle boxing fights. How good are their striking skills? That's what I'm questioning. If your background is wrestling, and now all of a sudden you're throwing punches, because I saw that in the main event. I mean, this guy is throwing punches, but his hands are down, and he got caught multiple times. I'm like, well, put your hands up, or he's doing it all wrong.
I only caught the main event. Oh, go ahead, Gonzalo. Go ahead.
You talking about BKB?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with the hands down, look, I was listening to something the other day. I'm not gonna say what, but there's something to that about like when you fight with your hands down. Sometimes it's like because we're used to walking with their hands down for the majority part of the day. Like that's their natural position. Sometimes we feel comfortable, like we're not defending ourselves. But when we're being in that mentality that we're not defending and we're kind of more natural, you could kind of probably see more things. But when in regards to, I'm not saying do that or like that's what I recommend. No, I'm just saying that in BKB, you don't got that extra layer of protection around the hands that creates to where like if you put up high guard, you can block the punches and very easily to sneak a punch through. Like wow, Juan Manuel Marquez, BDA throws that jab to where he's not turning the hand over. He just throws the punch straight, like palm facing one way, the flat part of the outer hand like facing another, to where it's less of a bulky surface. You know, when you just throw your hand forward, when you But so in other words, like when you're covering up, it's very easy to sneak a hand with no gloves, and the guy that's putting his hands up, when he's got his hands up, there's a wider area to get that hand through. So I could kind of see how it's different, and I couldn't really say whether it's good or not. But obviously, in boxing, you're supposed to have your hands up to block a punch.
Yeah, like you said, it's different. I think also the other guy, Bobby Gunn, who's a Canadian bare knuckle guy, he's also talked about the different. He says something similar to that about the keeping the hands away when you don't have those 10-ounce, 8-ounce gloves on. I actually found it entertaining, the main event. I only cut the main event, but both guys were throwing hands, and the atmosphere was, I think it was in Philadelphia, they said. They had quite a crowd there, so, and he was free on the zone. For some reason, I thought it was going to be pay-per-view or something, but no, it was free, so hey, why not watch it and see what it's all about?
It was free on the zone, and it did seem like they had a big crowd there, so yeah, good for them. Good for them.
Absolutely. Well, that's about it for us today here. Like I say, hey, fellas, there's 103 people watching now as we're about to leave 63 likes. Get it up to at least 80. 17 people hit the like on the way out.
Get 80 likes. Come on, guys. We can do it.
Yeah, come on. It helps us out, man. It helps us out with the algorithm and all that. So 17 people hit the like on the way out, and we're golden. Golden, Jerry. Golden.
Hey, BDA, can I mention something? I think it was you that mentioned it, but it's true. Like Juan Manuel Marquez over at Mexico City, that's how they practice to throw like their jabs out, where they're not turning the hand over, and the hook too, because like the glove is not on the wider, it's like up and down, to where you're not turning it over and you could pierce the guard, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's how they're taught to throw it, like you said, because it will break the guard. And the uppercut too. They don't turn the up. Well, some people don't do it, but I don't know if the Bernstein gym does that, but some people, when they throw the uppercut, they don't turn it over either. They just keep it sort of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like you said, they don't turn the glove over, so it just pierces, it goes right through the guard. So it's some interesting difference of technique right there. All right, fellas, like I said, thank you for joining us. Everybody in the chat. Well, first of all, Bucho and Gonzalo, shout out to you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show. Thank you for showing up. We will be back this week to preview the card on Saturday. And like I said, I'm not sold on Morel, but I'm gonna talk more about how he could win and how maybe I could see me. I always give different ways of how the fight is gonna look, and so we're gonna preview that fight. Gonna be doing a preview show or a call-in show where you guys call in, give us your predictions, maybe even a comparative analysis show. Those are always fun, so might as well do the one now this week. So stay tuned for all those things this week. Like Bucho said, don't forget to check out our secondary channel, BDA Clips. Don't forget to hit that like. Shout out to Julio, Real Food TV, in the chat. Says Benavides is going to crush that dude. Well, if he crushes him, it's going to be entertaining to watch. Might as well be worth the pay-per-view by then. But shout out to Julio. Check out his channel, The Real Food TV. And shout out to everybody else in the chat. Baron Evola, Eparokua, Mohammed Amard, Bruce Lee, Rapax Trucking Company, Sam Rando, The Greatest, Dark Hay Dog. Who else was here as well? Combat Sports Fan TV, who says, who's the hipster now? Oh, that's Amok. Shout out to Amok PvP, DJ Big Leg, Bernhard Bernard, Windy City, Mark T, Isaac Bermudez, Jos Delgado, Don Ramon. If I forgot anybody, fellas, because we're going to go, but shout out to you, fellas. Hope you enjoy the show. Stay tuned for more shows this week. Don't forget to hit the like. Check us out on Spreaker, iTunes, Spotify. Check out BDA Clips. Check out Patreon. Sign up for free if you so wish to.